Good evening, everybody. How are you? Happy Tuesday. Hope you had a great day today. I'm Phil Russert. This is Creatorcon Q&A. This is episode 26.5, and the reason why it's 0.5 is because our guest tonight has been moved up from November because he's that damn special. He's also a friend of mine, so we're going to have some fun, some laughs tonight. But before we get into that, as usual, I have a few shout-outs to make, so bear with me for a few minutes. So just wanted to let you know that an awesome podcast, Android's Amazing Podcast, is an excellent show with really knowledgeable comic book guys that go over comic books every week. You can hear them on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Pods, Anchor, Podcast Addict, and a bunch more. So go look for them. Go check out Android's Amazing Podcast. We also have It Came From the Radio, which is an online radio show hosted by Mark Torres. It's everything in indie information and everything pop culture information. So I've been a guest on that show before, and I believe it will be soon again before the coming show December. So please check them out. For your comic book needs, you got Mad Titan Comics, _Comics on Instagram, and Eric Gunderson on Facebook, who is the owner and operator. Go check him out if you want some key issues, slabbed issues, dollar issues, you name it, he's got it. And finally, we have www.letsdodis.com, LESDUDIS. That's Andy Lee, a good friend, a great guy, one of the best people I know. And if it wasn't for him, I would look terrible. He does all my promo graphics. So thank you, Andy, for that. I also want to remind you that we have a show December 6th. Please come on out. I will post the hell out of it, so I'm sure you'll find it. But anyway, tonight's guest, we have Enrique Lopez, who has his anthology book out right now, Stupendous. You probably hear it before every show I mentioned it. And he has Horrendous coming out, which is the follow-up anthology book. He's an inker, a writer, a penciler. He will be at my show December 6th, and he is a good guy. And he did an awesome drawing two awesome drawings for my daughter, so I'm very grateful for that. And he has his show, Inking with Quique, on Instagram, Monday nights at 8 p.m., which we will get into and talk about. So without further ado, Enrique Lopez. What's up, boss?
How we doing, bud? I was jamming here to your little intro, man. You know?
Yeah, I saw you. You know I play better anyway, so I'm kidding. So before we get started, just everybody look below, scrolling, of course. Those are all the ways you can find Quique's work or Enrique's work and his show, which is on the Instagram. I believe you've transitioned to Facebook. You there?
Yeah, you're like blurring up a little bit there.
You need better glasses?
Okay.
You all right?
Yeah, you were like... Okay, that's what I was hearing. Okay, all right, no problem.
Oh, you're slowing up on me. Maybe it's your connection.
All right, doubt it because I got 5G, anyway.
Well, you're freezing up on me and you're in a basement, so.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So I was saying, you're inking with Quique. Are you transitioning over from Instagram? You'll also be on Facebook?
I'm thinking by next year I'll be using StreamYard. I'm going to be doing that test run on Thursday when I have Paris Collins on the show on Thursday at 8.
Nice.
So hopefully that'll go better because like last night we were on a real roll and we had a lot of people still, like 10 or 12 people still on the Instagram feed, and people were still joining in when I was ready to sign off, and we had to cut. I have to come back, and then I have to take about a minute as I upload the previous video to make sure I don't lose it, and then come back. So you lose a few people along the way. So
right.
Hopefully with the other on Facebook and the StreamYard, we can keep going straight through if people want to. When people want me to cut early, well, we cut early. But hopefully they'll keep wanting to keep going like last time. So it was awesome. And right now I'm actually transmitting this video live on Instagram. So anybody who's over there will see it eventually as well. So.
before we get further, I just want to say there's a bunch of hellos, and I have to say, dude, Joe Alonzo is on the chat. That is awesome. What's up, brother? How are you, man? Haven't spoken to you in a while. I'm sorry. I was supposed to call you, and I didn't. My screw up. No excuses. We will talk this week. But that's great that he's here, man. Thanks. Heather, hello. How are you? Dell, what's going on?
And he's there as well.
And Lou said, hey, Phil, it's the Enrique show on your page. Andy, of course. Oh, thank you, Andy. Appreciate that. Happy 2 years. I forgot. This is the anniversary of the Suffolk's 2-year anniversary. That's right.
And I'm going to send a shout out to Lou Tom. He's over on my Instagram. You can see him over there. So thanks for joining on that side as well. So
cool. So reminding everybody, I'm doing a free art giveaway tonight. So if you got questions, throw them out there. Best question wins. That means you, Dell. You need to throw 100 questions out. So that's the thing with
I don't know if you'll ever do, but anyway.
That's the thing with the Instagram is, like you said, you have that hour and then they cut you off. And if you're having a really good show and you for the first time, you understood what I was saying, you'll have a flood of people come in when you're ready to wrap things up. And you're like, well, why am I going to stop now when you just got a whole flood of people? And that happened to you last night, right?
Yep. And it was like brand. And the problem, some of them came back, some of them didn't, because it's just one of those things. They stop in, they see it, and they go, oh, man, it's shutting off. Okay, I got to go then. One of them actually said, I'm sorry I came late. And I'm like, oh, just stick around. We keep going. No problem. So.
And that's the thing is you lose people when you have to load up again. So Lou, by the way, just said he's grateful for you doing your Quique art style to the Joker Harley piece he did.
Yeah, I just finished it today. Actually, let me see if it's over here somewhere.
Cool. Let's see. Check it out.
Yeah, there it is. Put it up front.
Very nice. Look at that, Lou.
Yeah. So I just finished that one this afternoon. So, Lou, you'll get it, but come by the show. You'll get it there a lot easier. That way, you won't get messed up on the trip.
Lou will actually be vending at the show.
So there you go.
I thought he was going to be there selling comics, but he says he's going to be there as an artist. So we'll fix that and put him in the artist alley.
They'll swing for the fences immediately, Dude.
Well, I don't deal with those things. I'm sorry, Del, but that's I don't touch that stuff. That's another show. That's not my show.
That question, actually,
What's that?
I don't mind answering that question.
I don't like asking it, but if you want to answer it, go ahead.
Yeah, but you got to put it up first.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. No. All right. No, because most of the time, the thing is that right now, when I was in advertising, I was doing it locally in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean, so I had no problems there. Now that I transitioned into doing artwork and doing shows, the array of diversity within the show and within the industry doesn't really affect that. I felt some racism and stuff like that when I lived in the South of the United States, specifically New Orleans and stuff like that. We lived in Virginia for some time, so there was a little bit of that. But it's like fortunately for myself and my family, we're very, very light skinned, so we kind of get through that. Like my oldest daughter, she takes a little sun, she gets nice and tan, and so she may get a little riff and stuff once in a while, but. Personally, I haven't. Now, I can tell a story. I was at the show in Oaks, Pennsylvania last year. And, of course, I have my big Quique sign behind me. And this gentleman came over and he asked me, is that you? I said, well, it tends to be when you're next to the sign. Yes, it is me. So it's like, because he was like, I didn't relate, just like this name, this person doesn't look right. And it's like, how long have you been here? Because your English is great. And I was looking at my daughter was next to me, so I did not react. I was going to tell him, just for your info, bro, Puerto Rico is the part of the United States. I've been here all my freaking life. So there you go.
I don't know if that's attributed to racism as opposed to just ignorance. People ask stupid questions all the time. That doesn't mean they think they're better than your race.
But it's like, honestly,
it's just stupidity.
I used to, when I was in college and stuff, people couldn't say my name, Enrique, so I became Rick. And so most of my friends from college know me as Rick. So Now I've gone back to my real name, Enrique, and it's like people are like, well, wait a minute, is this Enrique stuff? So I had to rechange it so people were, yeah, this was me.
So hard about Enrique.
No, I mean, oh man, when you have people asking you if I drove from Puerto Rico, please. Please.
You should tell them. You should say yes, they did. Drove from Puerto Rico. That's great.
Yeah, I really did. I mean, yeah.
What does that tell you? What did it tell you?
I had to stop for gas on the bridge like 5 times. But anyway.
By the way, just so you know, Lou said he's getting tight in the pants. He's so grateful. It's good to see that you can get somebody excited.
There you go.
All right, so you've got your show Monday nights, 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And you also do Thursdays. And what's that?
Once in a while. Yeah, I do Thursday stuff. So.
Yeah, when you have awesome guests like me, I was on a Thursday. But anyway.
But I had to fit you in now, there was no space, so that's where you went.
So you have Paris Cullen's coming on. That's a good grab, man. DC, Blue Devil co-creator.
I'm hoping that it all goes well. Tomorrow we're doing the actual internet connection test, so to work that out. And part of the reason I was able to get Paris on the show, and it's more like for those who don't know, and the only way you wouldn't know is that you're not following me, is that Paris will be working with me. I wrote a story for an anthology that's coming up. It's called Not So Fair Tales. It'll be up and running probably in May of 2021. And I asked Paris, and he accepted to join me on a very, very good story I've written, a very important story for me and for everybody. It's about a lot of what's going on in the world, and he decided to do the work with me. And besides him on the doing the pencils, and I'm writing and doing the inking, I brought in another gracious gentleman, a fellow Puerto Rican, Carlos Mangual. He is a letterer for DC Comics, Aftershock, and Alterna Comics. So I'm really, really, that is an all-star team there, and I'm really humbled that they all wanted to join in for the story. And
good.
I really hope so. I mean, the whole anthology, and we're going to talk about that later when we go around all the stuff here, probably. But that anthology, I'm really enthusiastic about it because John Englefield, who's running it, along with Russell Moriarty, who has a lot of stuff he's done on Kickstarter already, is a solid group of people. They know what they're doing. It seems that they know what they're doing. This is their first time doing this work together. And the quality of the teams and the artwork I've seen already are off the chart. So I'm psyched to talk about that. Yeah, but before we go on, I was looking at the questions you sent me, and I was like, because I thought, I'd merit a little something more. But when there are just 2 questions on this thing. I noticed only 2.
Yeah. I sent you like 20.
This is the official paper. It says here.
Get out of here.
Creatorcon Q&A, Philip Russert, moderator, episode 226.5. Apparently, I wasn't worth a full show. I got half a show, so that's pretty good.
All right, you ready? I got all these questions here to prove you're full of crap. Look at that, people. Look at that.
Look.
22 questions.
Yeah.
And by the way, I'm so happy because Dell is back with a vengeance. He just asked like 4 or 5 questions in a row. I'm very happy.
Dude,
I've missed Dell's question.
I was going in for a fun thing here now. Anyway, this question number 1, you were going to ask me, could you please tell the audience about yourself? And then you wrote in between the 2 questions, 2 hours later, question number 2. So before we go, where can people find you? So I guess you thought I was going to talk for 2 hours without giving a breather. Come on, give some props here. I can do my teeth imitation. I'll just be. That's it.
You got to get the big bright smile, though.
No, I don't have. My teeth are crooked, so I don't do that. So, no, but okay. So Dell's already going at it. Wow, he's
yeah. So I'm gonna let him ask. Pretty much was gonna be my first official question, but you pencil, you ink, and you write your own comics. Now, how did you learn everything? By school, or did you just put a pencil to a paper and just practice, and you became great? So again, my question that was gonna be, how did you? What inspired you to get into writing and artistry and all that stuff? So.
All right, since we have so much time on here, I can actually start the story. This is a long story. No.
Don't put everybody to sleep, damn it.
No, well, it's a lullaby. Anyway, no. when I was really, really, really young, first grade, um, the teachers were handing out these papers that were basically to learn how to write, and on top they had this big blank space. And what I would do is just write little stories, and I would put my friends in it, and I would draw it on top, and I would read it in front of the class, and all the teachers was like, "Man, this kid's creative." And it's like I would take stories based on Speed Racer, Wacky Races, and stuff like that, and then put all my buddies and friends and stuff into the stories. One of my next door neighbors at that time, when I was living in Ohio, actually knew a children's writer by the name of Brownie Norton, and I got to meet him at a very young age. And he actually dedicated one book to me, um, and autographed two other books for me, saying that you're going to be a writer someday. The funny thing is that it only took me about 50 years to get published, but so it actually became true. So that's I always thought about being a writer. I would write constantly during my formative years in high school. I was a part of the school paper. I would write poetry, critique, reviews. And all this time I was actually drawing, but I always was focused on the writing. I was always sending submissions to Isaac Asimov's magazine, and Analog magazine, sci-fi, horror books and stuff, being rejected, but I was constantly trying to get in. Some of the concepts I'm doing today are actually from the 80s when I actually wrote them, and now I'm bringing them in to this time. But all this time, I was actually doing a lot of work and practicing on my own. My high school was really good as to technology and stuff, but it wasn't really geared towards art. So there was not a lot of places in there at that time. Now, for some of you all youngins out here, there was a time there wasn't an internet. All right, there was actually a thing you had to use little rotary phones and stuff. So during that time, unless you had somebody next door who knew how to draw, knew how to ink, knew how to color, knew something, you were pretty much stuck with nothing to either do yourself. So I had to try to learn all the crafts. Now, my parents, being Cuban, they say, "No, mijito, no. You're not going to study art. You know, you need to some things that you can have a future. You're going to be an accountant." So I went to study accounting, and I ended up doing marketing because I didn't want to be doing numbers all my life. And
well, there's a lot of numbers in marketing.
Oh yeah, I got it. Anyway, especially in my degree, marketing research. So during my time at college, I went to Loyola University in New Orleans. They had a great program for video and for art. So I took advantage of all my electives, and basically I graduated. I graduated in 3 years for my degree. So I spent my last year basically taking electives and just spending my parents' money. And and I basically took a lot of stuff that like videotaping production, camera production, stage crew, script writing, public speaking. I acted in 3 different dramas. I wrote the music for one of the shows. One of the avant-garde programs. I actually played the guitar live during that show with music I composed. I acted in 2 other plays, and I did all this stuff just to get ready to become an artist in advertising because I wanted to take it out there. Now, I did try to get into Marvel and DC. At that time, they were just Jim Lee was breaking in. You were seeing Liefeld. The Dark Knight had gone up and blown everything away. The Watchmen are out there, so I was thinking this is the perfect time to go in. And I tried and I tried and I tried. I mean, I got as far as in '94. I presented to Dark Horse my whole concept here in New York. I met with them. I did a pitch, which I still have. I actually still have the copy because I did it really binded and everything. And they were like, no, we're not going to do that now. Our universe is going to be this way, but only our ideas. So it's still there, and I guarantee it'll be someday out here somewhere. So I gave up. That was in 1994. I was working advertising. I said, look, I'll concentrate on this stuff, and I'll stop. And I literally stopped absolutely nothing from 94 until 3 years ago. That's it. That's when I restarted, thanks to my daughter, my youngest daughter. My oldest never was into art, though she did win a competition once at my wife's job. But I don't know if they gave it to her because it was our daughter, something like that. So,
Jesus.
uh,
Way to boost the daughter's confidence up.
no, but the thing is that's from my marriage. Now, my first wife was actually an artist. I met her in the art department at an agency, so we both had the artwork, art in the background. Yet that child didn't get any of the genes. My second wife, who has no art background, yet this one has gotten all the genes of the art and 100 times better than me. And so she wanted to do art, and what she was doing originally was she was sketching just to do her cosplay. So she wanted to do cosplay. So she would sketch the costume before she would begin sewing. Now she went and taught herself to sew, and then we took her over to Mood here in New York, where she took classes. So she actually is professionally trained to do all the sewing and designing. But so she took the designing part further, and then she actually started doing art based off Voltron. That's what she loved. She loved the show, so she started sketching with that. And when I started to see her interest, I said, you know what? You need to start coming with me to conventions so you can start seeing what it's like. And then that's where I ran into Keith Williams for the first time, and I ran into Mark McKenna, Billy Tucci.
So it wasn't when you were outside their houses with binoculars?
No. That was way before.
When you first officially met them face to face, where they knew you were there. Gotcha. Okay.
Actually sitting down and saying, you know that little glint you every once in a while going like, what was that?
Yeah. What's that in the tree, Daddy?
But anyway, so actually, one of the things I want to talk with Paris when we meet up on Thursday is how he spoke to my daughter about how he got into the industry. And it's such a fascinating story. I'm not going to go in here because I want to leave it for the show, but it inspired even me to think that, you know what, let me give this a shot. And so I started doing a little bit of drawing, and let me see if by any chance I have it somewhere around here close by. Let me see. Yeah. So I actually did this inking on a Billy Tucci piece I saw online. This is like, well, the glare, sir, the glare. Okay. So that was the first.
Nice.
That was the original piece he had, and I showed it to Billy at this size. He was like, "Dude, you could do these bigger." I was like, "Well, the artwork was kind of small. I couldn't build it off Facebook, So he actually gave me a better version, which became then the. Let me see what's over here. I don't think it's here. Yeah, and then it became this.
Nice.
Which happens to be one of the better sellers of mine. I can't imagine why. Can't imagine. I mean, there's nothing to do reason for. So anyway.
So let me ask you though, what is your biggest passion then? Is it writing? Is it inking? Or is it penciling?
See, that's a trick question because if I say one or the other, people will say, "Oh man, can't believe he's a traitor." So no, because there's then other ones. Man, I thought you were an inker. No. The thing is that I had this plan that apparently had worked to some degree, in that I was trying to follow the Jim Palmiotti book of getting into the industry. And I always want to write. It's always been my biggest. I have a lot of stories to say, a lot of stories to put out there.
You have a lot to say? No.
No, man, wow. But the thing is that I have all these stories that I want to put out there, and I don't feel like I'm at the level to do it at the way I want to. So I'm actually improving to get there. So I started doing my own stuff to try to get to the point that I can do my own things. But I was also thinking that if I can get in as an inker somewhere or as a penciler, then I could say, you know what, I know these, now that I'm doing this here, everyone's give me a little issue to try a little writing. So I will go in through that back door into the industry. But the other day when I was meeting the guys from Insight over at New York Comic Con, I think it was, I don't remember, it was 1 March, somebody else I met, he says, why? Just write it and say, this is what I got, buddy. Send it to us, send it to everybody.
That's what I say. Just do it, man.
Go in there and do it yourself. And so I've been doing it in 2 ways now. I'm doing the artwork. So that's why the anthology, if we're not so fairy tales, is where I'm actually showing off more of my writing, because I'm handing off to pencilers my stories and letting them run it. And then I'll ink it, but it's still they're going to run with my story, and so that is a totally different project for me. Except on one of them, there is one I'll talk about a little further down that I was hired to do the inking only. I'm not doing any writing. It's already been written. It's a fantastic story, so I'm being hired to just do the inking. Yes.
Now, before we get into Stupendous, which I want to talk about, you have 2 short stories in there. One that you illustrated some of the pages, and then one was a written short story in this anthology book. I just wanted to get a little bit into your influences as far as writing. Yeah, look, I got mine too.
There you go. Hey, that's where the one copy went. Cool.
As well, if I run out of toilet paper, I need something. But
there you go.
Actually, the cover on this, the cover is so cool on this. I don't know what kind of paper it is, but it's got this really like velvety like feel to it. It's really nice.
It's like really great quality for the price you're getting. It is. I'll put it up against anything those other guys are putting out. All right, and it's really
we're going to go into great depth about the book in general, but of course, what your contribution was to it. But who are your writing influences growing up, and who are your art influences growing up? I mean, and who would you say, not just inspired you, but maybe you've crafted yourself after? You know what I mean?
My first love in writing, and for anything he wrote, was Ray Bradbury, and his Illustrated Man story, the Fahrenheit 451, all those stories spoke to me at a level I was like, dude, this is like out there. Arthur C. Clarke was great, but he was more like, when you read him and look back at what he wrote, you're like, dude, this guy knew what was coming way beyond. Of course, I loved H.G. Wells, all the stuff that he wrote, the World of Worlds and the Time Machine, all that. And as a young kid, I read also Jules Verne, but my first love of anything was Edgar Allan Poe. I love this stuff. I acted it out a bunch of times. In English forensics, which was like a debate team, I did the Telltale Heart, and I learned it by heart to do that. Don't ask me to do it. I can't do it anymore. And it's like, I just loved it. So from him, my next biggest influence, I wouldn't say influence, but I just love the way he could craft stuff. And just the sheer volume of production is Stephen King. That it is just so much you can put out. So it seems so effortlessly, but yet you read how he does it. It's not that easy for him, even though. But I like to go through those kind of. I read his book on how to write stuff, and a lot of it I actually formed the way I do things. I cannot personally sit down. Like if somebody says, "I want you to write a story about this," that doesn't usually work for me. It usually has to come from the weirdest freaking place, and it's could be something that just popped in my head, or something that happened to me. And then I'll go like, wait a minute, this is this way. The original story that was supposed to be in Stupendous is not the one in here right now. It was a totally different story that for me, it's something I went through. My daughters went through, unfortunately. And I wanted to put it in the book. It was too much of a downer, because the ending was very, very hard. And John, the editor of the book, asked me that when the situation happened that COVID hit, and we knew the book was not going to come out on time anymore, and the situation was that would you mind taking your story and doing, make it a little bit lighter? I said, no, I can't be done one lighter. I could do you a new one. And he goes like, look, man, if you can, we could do something lighter, because we don't want to have that downer in the middle of this pandemic. I was like, okay, I still think we could have done it, but the story I produced here was really, really cool. And it was able to use some of the situation in the world to put a twist on that. So I also like an influence of, if anybody's reading my stuff, with like a little bit of M. Night Shyamalan, which has got those real twist endings.
He gets a lot of flack, but I like his stuff.
I mean, if it's done well, it's worth it,
Well, even if his execution wasn't great, he's done some stories that were at least just original and outside the box. You know what I mean?
Like a lot of people don't like The Village, for example, and I think that's a really well executed.
I think it was marketed wrong. That's why it was marketed as like a monster movie.
Yeah,
people expected some monster film.
Yeah. And hey, Joe, thanks for joining me over here on Instagram. And
by the way, Pete Vasquez says good morning. So what's up,
morning. Pete? It's been a wrong day, buddy.
Yeah, he's not. Pete's like me. He's a night owl. If I were to say something to Pete at 4 a.m, I'd get an answer.
So, and now if we're like when we talk, I can talk a little bit about Horrendous is coming up. My inspiration for Horrendous was something that happened to me in real life about 3 years ago, because that story had nothing to do with the topic I did now with it. I changed it around to make it a little bit more contemporary. So hey, look at that. Pete says he hasn't slept in 36 hours. He's a brave man. So,
listen, Pete, there is something to the whole story about beauty sleep, okay? I'm just kidding. And, it's all in fun.
It wasn't me, But so, though I'm influenced by them and I like their way to do their storytelling, I try to avoid nowadays that I'm writing again full time to even read anything. I mean, I'm not even reading any comic books today, and that maybe sound like an offendable thing, but it's like I don't want to have by any chance get an idea and
subconsciously influenced by what someone's writing. I get that.
It'll be there. And every time I write something nowadays, I always go out and check, okay, has this been done this way? Has somebody said this? Just to be sure, because I don't want, I tell my daughters, and I tell everybody, the reality is, and this is not an original idea. Somebody said this to me many years ago. There are only 10 ideas in the world. We're only 10 stories in the world. We're just rehashing them all the time. I've always added that if you go and read it, go to the Bible, especially New Testament, you'll find.
I was about to say that the Bible is pretty much like
all the stories are in there already. They're already in there. So you say, what are you talking about? Oh, if you want to talk about a disaster movie, hey, Noah's Ark. You want to talk about family squabbles? Hey, how about Cain and Abel? That's a big one. How about a guy who becomes the most powerful entity in the world? Hey, Christ, or you can look. Oh, you gotta know. You can look at the similarities that are there.
Sure, no, everything, absolutely. You can find every tale.
So it's like my daughter was worried about because actually on the anthology for Kickstarter, she's also participating. 17 years old, and she's going to be in a Kickstarter next year. So if you're out there, thinking, oh, I don't know, 17. If you're not doing it, shame on you.
Dude, he's giving you double pointed fingers. You better listen.
No, man, you got it. I'm like super happy for that. I wish at 17 I had the opportunity to publish like that. And by the way, but in case you're thinking it, no, Daddy didn't help her. All right, Daddy didn't get her the gig. She had to submit and go through the process. So I'm really proud of her. And I told her that's a feather in your cap. You can put it on your portfolio. You can put it now on your applications for college, saying, "Oh, and by the way, I'm going to Kickstarter next year's old." And that is going to look really good, especially for FI stuff. So yeah.
L wanted to ask you if you think comics are getting lazy, like their writing has become very lazy.
Well, if I read them, I could answer that question. But let's put it this way. There's so few books out there that. Okay, when I started going to conventions as a fan, before I started doing all this stuff about 5 years ago, I would go to the comic book store and buy those number ones and stuff just to get some people to sign them and have them there. But then it became like a stash of stuff there. I decided to, at a latest yard sale, just gave them away. So here, take them. Have there been interesting books out? Yes, they have been. I found like the Darth Vader series that came out under Charles Soule. Absolutely some of the best writing I've read in a comic. This side of Chris Claremont. It was absolutely fantastic. Well written, well thought out, but it still had the same situation that I see in comics today, that they're just stretching it out so they can say we need to fill in 120 pages of a graphic novel. Make sure we got enough issues to do that. And ironically, one of the best issues of that run, I think, was issue number 23 or 25, which was a single Darth Vader story. That's it, single issue. It was only one story, that one, and it's probably the best of the whole series because it was simple, straight to the point, gave you an insight to the character that we've never seen before. And I told him I was envious of him that he was able to pull that out. I didn't get to write it.
Was that the one where he's being hunted by them to test him? Yes, dude. I have the 3 trades upstairs. I'm actually looking to sell them because I read them, but I'm just going to sell them. But yes, Grand Moff Tarkin is hunting Vader on a planet with a bunch of bounty hunters and stuff.
Yep.
And he does some stuff in that story that you had never seen and never thought Vader could do. And it was and that ending was it was good. I agree with that's how I knew what issue you were talking about.
Yeah, it is a great story, and that is what I would like to do. So now what I'm concentrating on, would I like to work for any of the big 2? Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't think they would have the guts to let me do what I want to do, and the characters and do stuff. So, right now, this idea of anthologies, I've always found them interesting, and I'm so glad that now I've started because now that I'm in one and now I'm in 2, and I'm going to be in the 3rd one. It's opened up chances for me to meet other people who are doing other anthologies because if the only part I can do in my career was to be doing anthologies for the rest of my life, I'll probably die happy because I get the chance to do different stories all the time.
Sure.
And there are different genres and stuff, and I think it'll be fine. Would I like to have some of my major stories become books and stuff? That's not going to stop. I'll keep trying. But I think the anthology for me are very achievable goals. I won't stop if Mr. Jim Lee shows up at my table and says, your stuff is pretty good. You want to work for me? I said, no, man, what the hell? I'm not going to work for you.
Get lost, buddy. Who are you?
Who are you? So, but I won't. I won't do that.
You wouldn't have to look up though. He's like 5'3".
Boy. I didn't say it was him. This was grand.
I'm just saying, I love him so much. I'm nuts over him. No, just sorry. Anyway.
No, but like I said, it could just happen sometime. It'll be great. I think the opportunities are going to show up when I least expect it. One of the things you got to understand. I saw one of your questions there, and actually there were like 20-something questions, and I felt they were like for somebody who's been around for like 20 years. But anyway, that's another story. And
well, you know how I roll by now. Everybody gets treated the same way. Right. People are so focused on quote unquote stations in life. I don't buy into that crap. We're all working hard. For some of us, the difference is they got the break and some didn't. Some are working on their craft, and it's not about where they are now, but where they're going to be someday. And that's it. You're not going to get a different set of questions just because you're quote unquote not Eric Larson. I don't buy that.
I'm looking over here that Joshua is saying that he likes anthologies. My good buddy M.I. Smith is in the house. He's a follower on Instagram, and he has asked me for the books. And I say thank you, sir, because I have a lot, and good to have another one out of here. And
well, speaking of the book, let's get to it though. This is it. Stupendous is the first anthology. It's out now. You have Horrendous coming out, November? Next month?
No, it was supposed to be out by Halloween. It could be. I could have it in Halloween, but I doubt it. It'll probably have the first week of November. Yeah.
It's a wraparound cover. This is a large book. If you look at the size of my hand compared to it, it's a big book. It's like a fanzine. It's very nice.
8.5 by 11.
Very nice. It's like a fanzine. It's a nice big book. It's thick. Look at that, And
this is the original. If it's already framed. It's the original inks for that cover.
Nice.
I did all the inks on that. And there's one that was added in last second, which is Abraham, which is the guy in the teleporter. That was added at the very last second.
That? Oh yes. Okay.
Yeah.
He's on the spine there.
I actually did that with brush super fast. It's one of the best pieces. It's like the one that came out the greatest. And I was like, God damn, that came out nice. So, Yeah, and
Yeah,
two of the characters on the cover. This guy is my character, Massive Man. I drew him as well as ink him. And this is over here. Where is he? Here, Kid Massive. There's a little Kid Massive. He shows up in the story in text. You don't actually see him. So it's actually pretty cool.
Well, I thought it was a cool little thing too, though. Is like you have blank pages to get sketches in the book.
Yes.
If you want to, and if people buy this book and they come see you at a show, they could get something done in here from you.
Wait, there's a show on December 6th coming up.
I wasn't going to plug my show right now.
I'll be in there. Yeah, but one of the cool things, about this also is at the very front of the book, we have areas in the book that we can sign their little X's next to the
nice.
Name. And yeah, that's my little bio. As you can see, I was very, very brief in what I wrote.
What a handsome man.
Now, the cool thing is that all the information in here about my Instagram it's moot. It doesn't work. I changed everything. So the only thing
that's right, you did. You used
everything.
To be Studio Mania. Meanwhile, I was saying that in every stupid show, and I forgot you changed it to the Quique.
Yeah, and because it's a lot easier to say that everything's not everything is united. I'm waiting. I'm going to do the Gmail. My Gmail is going to change eventually. I got to check if that name is not taken, because Art by Quique, it's all straight through. Somebody dared to get that name. Somebody used it. So I'm like, oh my god! So I have to put those little underscores you can see here on the bottom of my title. So
now,
but
let's
anyway,
get to
what
the.
I like about that book is that it came out really nice, 8.5. 13 individual different artists were involved. And you didn't mention it, man. You got poor Keith. You left him out.
How could I? Every time I try to say something about the book.
Yeah, Keith Williams did the inking on my sketch here, so.
Yes.
So.
The mayor.
Brought in some class to that thing there. But, yeah, so, and then there's also a little short story in there because I like to still show off my chops as just writing.
So that's the thing is, in there you have a short comic, panels, and sequential art.
Right.
You're going to tell us about that without a spoiler. And then you had a nice short story, which was all text, was all written dialogue afterwards. So, without giving spoilers, tell us about it. Entice me. Tell me why I want to buy this book, even though I already did.
You got 13 people working together, making one big book. You can get it for a really reasonable price. You can get it for a little more than you would pay for a book out there that won't even get a full story in. So let's leave it at that.
No, the price is well worth it. Absolutely.
And I'll throw it in here. Like if you buy it from me on my webpage or when you see me in December anywhere, you get bookmarks and mini prints for free. Okay, so you get even more for your buck. Now, why is this book so good? Well, you got original artists here locally in between New Jersey and Philadelphia and Pennsylvania. You're giving us a chance to get our artwork and our voices out there. And you can see it's so diverse, which is cool. Now, part of the reason why the sketch pages were there was because originally we were going to do a signing at the comic book store here, White Dragon, which are the main sponsors. White Dragon's comics, you can see them in the back of the book. They are sponsoring. They usually sponsor the signing for us, but with the COVID thing, we couldn't go out there. But that was the whole idea, so people could come here, get sketches at the same time from us and stuff. So if you buy the book, we can talk. I can add you a little sketch in there as well, a little remark or something in December, or you can just order it through my little store that's tracking through all that stuff there. But I wanted to. The thing is that because I was giving more time, I told John, look, I want to put in a short story. And he says, no grinds, just a short story. He says, if it fits in the pages, go for it. And the story behind that is that I originally sent it in a competition, which I didn't win. Because Writer's Digest has these competitions they do every few months that they put up an image and they say, write 900 word story based off that image. And I did. And they didn't. I wasn't even a finalist. I said, okay, no problem. So I kept the story, and the thing is, I still haven't figured out how to do it graphically with it, because Phil has already read it. It's like it's easier to hide what's going on in the written word than graphically showing it. So
Right.
I've had some ideas how to get it through. I'm hopefully exploring them to do it in the future. But it is
Are we losing you?
really
You
quick to read. He
froze.
was one of the
There you go. You froze. You all right? You still with us?
yeah. It's that the computer, I guess, is thinking, you know what, we're getting tired. And Andy already picked. Andy was very gracious to give me a review of it. I sent him an early copy on my story to him to review. Dirk Manning did a review of it. Everybody was very, very nice about it. And so I'm really proud of the work I put in there. Now, Eric Hernandez, the artist of Soul Eraser for Triple Threat Comics, and of which I'll be inking starting issue number 4. He's doing issue number 2 and 3 right now. Actually, he's drawing number 8 right now, so he's super fast. I asked him to join me because I was running out of time, and because I take a long time to get everything to rate perfect, you know. And I learned a lot from that for when I went to do. Well, there you go. Finally, yeah, it's probably. And from that, I learned a lot from when I went to Horrendous that I improved how my speed and everything. But I was running out of time, and I asked Eric, could you help me with one page? I just needed for one page. And he came in, and then, like, I showed him my first 3 pages. I said, this is where I am. This is the layout of what I'm going to do anyway. Can you do a quick layout so I can just ink over it real quick and go with it? But in like 30 minutes later, he came back for the full page. You actually seen the book. And I was like, dude, that was really quick. And he was like, yeah, man. And what the thing he told me is really something I appreciate is that he said that because of the 3 pages I had given him, the layout I provided him, even though it had no text and nothing on it, he says the story was easy to follow. I understood where your story was going. That all I knew is that, this is the next step. So I just knew. I didn't have to think. It was like, okay, here we go. And then I go like, but that's cool. Then I mean, I can do this. I can actually, that people can understand it. And I really wanted to try to do that almost totally silent, but I knew it couldn't be done. There would be too much things going on, and that's where I added in those little captions. But Horrendous, the story is called Carnivorous in Horrendous. It is totally 0 dialogue, absolutely 100%. You're only seeing drawings. And one of the things I wanted to make sure is that the story worked, and it does. I originally had put captions in, and even my daughter says, "You don't need them. You don't need them." And I said, "Okay." So if at 17 you know it, let's take them out. So the only text you see is the last page where the credits are. So that was an interesting.
So is it a sense of suspenseful or horror or?
When I'm going to use the words of Dirk Manning, he reviewed it as well. He liked it, and he said it was very creepy.
See, that's my favorite kind of horror. I don't like slasher or just jump scares. Creepy, the stuff that like sits with you. That's the good stuff.
It's based on something that happened to me. So when you read the story, you're like, "What the hell happened to Quique?"
Does it explain what happened? How you look?
Nah, what? But no, it's that. It's a story that up to now, nobody has really figured out what it's really about. And they look at it from one way and say, well, this is about that. Well, maybe, but I'm not going to give it away. Eventually, I'm not even today, maybe sometime.
So it makes you think. It makes the reader think and try to interpret.
You can interpret it. You can read it and not even know what I'm talking about and enjoy it. As a story, straight up, it is a good story. But once you figure out what I'm really talking about, you might go like, "Oh, wait a minute," because I'm of the old philosophy that science fiction and horror, at their purest form, are either they are mirror to a world in which we don't want to acknowledge the reality, so we put it at this form. And then we can actually then look at it differently.
Right.
And good science fiction, good horror stuff that's done well will make you think, what are we looking at and everything? What's the reality? Is the zombie really a symbol of just being a dead body, or is it something else?
Right.
Is the alien invasion really talking about an alien invasion, or are we talking about our humanity, or being what we're doing to each other? So,
right.
You can take movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still, and you go like, well, that's a nice guy, comes down here and he does some stuff. Really? Well, look at what's behind it. I was like, all the story about the armed people getting all the machines and attacking this individual coming peacefully. What are we doing with each other? And there's different things. Even War of the Worlds has a theme in there. So every time I write, I try to see what if there's going to be a message in there. Now I can tell you, for example, I'm writing 3 stories for the new anthology, Not So Fair Tales. These are tales based off of public domain characters in the fairy tales realm. So you will see anything, could be anything from a Humpty Dumpty to Pinocchio, maybe have the 3 Little Pigs, whatever. But they're giving our own little twist.
Nice.
Somebody already did Rumpelstiltskin one. The one I'm going to be inking is a Humpty Dumpty story, which is it's written by Chrissy Amato, if I'm not mistaken. She is a 5-time published novelist, and she has done a kick-ass. It is a great story. As soon as I read it, I was like, I gotta get in on this one. And I was lucky. The guy said, "Yeah, you're gonna do it." So one of my stories, specifically the one I'm doing with Paris Cullins, I decided once I read the story of Iron John, and I'm thinking, which way can I go with this story? There's a scene in Iron John's history, the story, because that's got these stories. You got to understand, and the original versions of all these things, like the Little Mermaid stuff, are really 200 years old or more, medieval times, some of them. So they've been passed down through actual spoken word, and it's been changing as history moves on in situations. Right. So I've been trying to find which version is the one I like the most to base this idea of. And there's a scene in one of them that I really enjoyed that has the character interacting with another character. But what they're doing in that story originally is about that he's a prince, and he's going to and Iron John asks him to get the key from the castle, and if you freed him, he will be in his debt. And then he actually he was like this imp or something, and he had his treasure, and he helped the prince become really powerful, and eventually something like that. But that's not what I thought. I'm not going to take that. I'm taking the idea of an interaction between these 2 individuals in this moment in time, and I have this really important message I want to go out with on that one specifically. And therefore, that scene's going to be in the dark. It's going to be nighttime. There's going to be a lot of effects going on, and it's just 2 characters looking at each other the whole time. And I'm so absolutely happy that I got Carlos Mangual to do this, because I saw him do some lettering on some of the pieces out there for Aftershock, and I said, this is the guy I need for this lettering, because I really want each character to have a distinct type and look of them when they speak. And so that story has a message already in it. The other story.
How long are these stories? How many pages are they? Really short, or
10? The maximum we can have are 10. Okay. I know other people are doing like 2 pages, and other stuff like that. But mine are all right now maxed them out at 10. They could be shorter, but they can be. It has to be either 2, 4, 6, 8, or 10. They can't be in between. They can be 9. So I'm looking at 8. It's too short. 12, 10 is perfect. So I got another story which it's going to be based off Jack the Giant Killer, which has had hundreds of different altered versions. Right. But my take on it is there's not a message in there. It's just pure, absolutely unadulterated fun. If you love video games, you love action movies and stuff, that's the story for you. That's good. And I got Sigmund Dora to draw. Is going to be.
He's a great colorist.
I just love what he did for your Nightcrawler, and I said, you got to do this piece, man. It was funny to him at different hours. I was talking to him. I think it was on a Friday morning. It was Saturday or trying to. It was already.
Yeah, he's 12 hours difference in Philippines.
It's just getting up and stuff like that. I was great. So so I'm really happy he's going to be doing that one. And then my the other story has these two characters again in a room, and they have absolutely. I'm not even telling you the names of those characters because I don't want to give it away. But they have absolutely no relationship with each other. And when I approached the Anthology with the idea, I said, "Can I do this?" Because one of the points was they had to make sure that the stories were really based off the Anthology, the fairy tale at some form. And I said, "But this character is going to be talking about this stuff, while this character has this history. Is it okay if I mesh them in this way?" And he says, "Yes, because you're bringing all the stories across the lines." And it wasn't until actually yesterday that I sat down to research even more one of the characters that I realized that subconsciously I had come up with the idea was already there, that even though I thought it was throwing it off to a big curveball, it's actually not. So I'm really happy that now I'm going to bring in a form of that character that's very rarely seen anywhere. Anytime you see that character nowadays, you're not going to associate it with the way I'm doing it. And I feel like I'm actually bringing in the character as it is in the past. So,
and when is this coming out?
It should be out on Kickstarter between late April, early May of next year. We have to hand in everything by the end of March. All my teams have to have everything done 2 weeks before that because we really want to get everything done here. So I don't want to have any incidents going on at the last minute. So hey, let's get there. So I'm really looking forward to them. I'm working on it, and the other one I'm doing is the Humpty Dumpty story with Matt Parton. He's the creator of that one and the writer and the illustrator of that. And then because I brought Sigmund onto me to do the Jack story, I brought with me to the Humpty Dumpty story the colorist I originally had for that story, Robbie Bryan. He's one of his. It's going to be like his first comic he's illustrating, not illustrating, coloring, but he has done a great job. If anybody's been on my Instagram has seen a Jean Grey he colored the Green Jay that I did with I drew it, and Derek Parshanan actually did the inks on it digitally, and Robbie just did a kick-ass job on that one. It's to the point that we're making it a print for 2021. So
nice.
I'm really happy to bring him on, and he's a really good illustrator. He does he concentrates more on doing like spaceships and stuff, but I think for this story he's going to be perfect. His palette is really good. I really think it's going to work. And since the other story's all action, that's why I thought Sigmund, damn, bro, you got to do this. And I was like, when I told him about it, he was like, "Oh, kick it ass." He goes, "Yep, let's do it." So I'm really happy to get that one done.
Lou wanted to ask you if you could change one thing about the modern panel artwork storytelling medium industry, what would it be?
Okay, leave it up there. If I can change one thing on the modern panel, there really is. That is not okay. That is not for me. That is not for you. That is for each individual artist to decide how they prefer to bring whatever story they want to the masses. If they want to do it in that format, fine. If they want to do it in doing watercolor paintings, that's fine. They want to do it all painted graphic. No, look, there've been story books. I mean, let's look back. Electra Assassin by Sienkiewicz was mostly painted,
right?
And therefore that was like totally off what everybody was looking at. When you look at Watchmen was 9 panels every page.
Yep.
Every single page was exactly the same. So were those, and then you take a book like The Dark Knight, which had traditional and also very full spread page and stuff like that. So I don't think the idea of changing now, if you're talking about changing the way the modern comics are distributed and we're getting them to us, that's a totally different question. But as to say what can we do to change it, I wouldn't change a thing. I think every individual person should choose how their story should be put out there, because who am I to tell somebody to do 4 panels on a page? Even for the story I'm doing now, even for the project I'm doing now, I'm Not So Fair Tales, it's a 9x9 book. It's square. Okay, it's going to be square. And we have to really think about how we're going to put those panels in there, because I don't put too many panels, are going to look too tiny. And I love what some people are doing. I've already seen a few of those drawings. I'm like, this is great. John already told me that his story. John is actually drawing with me the Jack one. And oh my God, this already. We've been here an hour already. My God.
Yeah.
And he's doing full color illustrations, and then he's putting text next to each page for his version. And I think that's great. Our version is going to be total panels going all over the place. And I already have one that's going like in triangles, designed this way, and it's going to be all over the place. So, I don't think it's more like I think you should look for the acceptance, because sometimes artists are like scared of going outside of the box, going into a point that they're saying, you know what, let me try it this way. And
see, I don't know if it's that though, because editors are so controlling in the big two now that they're like, I was just conversing with someone today about like Tom King, for example. Now I'm not going to spoil it if somebody hasn't read the
using a very big word for you, man.
They're talking about Tom King, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read the Batman books, but something major, a character is killed off in the books. Tom King was asked about it because people were very upset about it, and he was like, I wasn't looking to do that. It was supposed to appear that was the character that was killed off, but it wasn't supposed to be. And it was supposed to be used as a plot device to further the plot for other reasons, as an antagonist. But editors step in and they say, no, we want this, that's it. And these writers don't own these characters. It's not their property.
But that's what I mean. Like yesterday on my on the Monday show on Inky with Quique yesterday with Tevin Gomez, we talked about this same thing, and we were like, there is no excuse today for somebody to say, well, I wish I could get my stories published. There's no excuse today. I mean, you can do Kickstarter, you got Indigo, you got online, you got web, you got shows, there is no excuse today to say you cannot have something out there. The only excuse is that you don't do it.
Right. This is the age of the indie artist.
So, I mean, all you have, all your limitations are yourself. Mm-hmm. So when somebody said, well, yeah, you don't own the characters, so that's you can do it somewhere else. You can create its own thing. Right. It's really easy. It's not easy. It's real convenient to just take the money and grab and whatever's out there. I would do it too. What the heck? If somebody paid me X amount of dollars to write Batman or something like that, sure, I wouldn't mind doing it. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're so above it. No, I'm not. I'm materialistic too. I need to feed my kids. It's like, let's face it. But would I like now, if I want to have full control, then I could have to do it myself. And that's something my daughter is like, she would tell me, she hates that I ink her work. And the reason she says she hates it is because I disappear when you ink it. And it's sometimes true, because the way she draws is very lineless. So when I put lines, it actually becomes solid and it looks like something I would do. Though I try not to do that to her. But sometimes she just feels like, oh, that happens. Well, then if that's what you're worried about, then you have to do everything yourself. You got to write it, draw it, you got stuff. So you can control it, but if you're working with somebody else, on another project, what the heck?
Lou wanted to clarify, by the way, though. He said, what I meant was, what would you change in the industry? Sales side, business aspects of the industry. I've heard of a lot of issues from few artists this year in 2019, which is why they're moving to Kickstarter.
Okay. Well, it just didn't go up. That's sad. The video didn't upload. Apparently, there's a copyright infringement of Creatorcon. They won't let me upload it. So, are
you serious?
I'm not kidding. It didn't go up. It didn't go up. It didn't upload it to my Instagram feed.
Oh, because I'm trademarked and they're wow. I didn't know that would happen. Wow.
Well, who knows?
Well, I can. Maybe I can share. I could just share the video to your.
I'll just share it from your partner. But people saw it. There were a bunch of people that just wanted to see what people were saying there. But okay, going back
so
to
weird.
loose.
What would you change in the industry? Sales side, business aspects of the industry.
For me, I concur with Jerry Conway, who the other day was writing about this. They're marketing it to the wrong people. They're just marketing books to the wrong people. You know, you gotta market it to the 12-year-olds. You know,
but how can you when it's a $5 book now?
Huh?
But how can you when it's a $5 book now? I mean, when I was growing up, if I was lucky I didn't get allowance, but kids did, right? You get a $5 allowance for the week, but a book was 35 to 75 cents. You could walk away with a stack of books. Now, it's a $5 book. What kid is getting $30? You know, and even if you had a $30 allowance, which is crazy, that's 6 books. The problem is the price point doesn't match that demographic either.
Yeah, but okay. That is correct, but
of course it is. I said it.
Oh, make thank you. Anyway,
by the way, you look like the Lobo that Chris did for me.
Yeah, I know. And
you inked
really well. And
see, I'm looking out for you. I'm like, show your work, man. I'm looking out for you. There you go. Chris Mad drew that. It's a commission of mine, and Enrique inked it and did a great, fantastic job.
Thank you.
See how I'm looking out for you? You're not even thinking of these things, man.
This man I did with him.
Yeah. Hell
but going back to that, it's true about the $5 point, which is I've been critical at saying that nowadays you get for $5 what you would pay a nickel maybe a few years ago, and it's not even that much.
And the paper quality is less, and the writing is less. There's less dialogue in a book now, and sometimes the art is just subpar.
I gotta tell you, I'm sorry, you know, people might not want to, and I don't know why there's so much hate for this company at times. This Alterna does it in newsprint, man. If they're only like $1 or $2 out there, you know, and let's face it.
I saw that.
And you go to any of these stores, any comic book store, they sell the True Believer copies from Now Marvel. Those are $1. So if they can do that for $1, all right.
What does it tell you about that exactly?
But that's not only, you got to understand, that's not just the printing part. See, in that book for $1, what's the difference? Well, they're reprints. What does that mean? They don't have to pay an artist. They don't have to pay an inker. They don't have to pay the writer. They don't have to pay the distributor. It's just,
they are paying royalties.
They will pay some royalties off of it, yeah. But it's not the same. It's like you're not like paying somebody to do that big time,
right? So, but is it really 20% of their cost?
Nah,
right?
Like, I don't know what it is right now. To be honest, I don't know. I've never analyzed it, so I can't tell you.
But think about it. If you're selling at $1 price point as opposed to a $5 book, you're saying that selling it at 20% of the of the other book's value, they're making surplus on that. So that means that it cost them less than 20% of the $5 book to make it. The numbers just don't. They seem off to me.
I don't see the quality of the paper of those True Believer ones. I'm using True Believers because I know DC does their own version as well.
Right.
And I believe also Disney has a few other duck versions and stuff. They also do reprints of. But there is a better quality of paper when you go to some of those up for $5 and stuff. But overall, the way I see it is that the child of 12 years old, that child like me at 12, walked into that drugstore and gazed upon issue number 3 of The Warlord and said, "What the hell is this?" For the first time, when I saw the guy with a gun and a sword with monsters coming at him with a plane, I said, "What is this?" You know, you don't get that anymore. You don't get that. You know, I used to buy my comics from a drugstore when I was a kid. That was like when I came to New York to visit my my cousins in '79. I spent here in Queens for about a month. I would go to the drugstore once a week because I knew their comics were coming in, and there was that smell of being in that drugstore, the gum and all that kind of stuff. And they're the little rack, and you go, what's here?
Yeah, Optimal spinner rack, yeah.
You were like, what's here, what's here, what's here? And I would grab everything just because back when I was in Puerto Rico, you couldn't find them. It was really, really hard to get them there because as being on an island, it was harder to transport over there, and they were much limited. You would only get a few. That's why comics down there that industry was very limited for me. So when I started doing it down there, people were like, "What are you doing there? You know, does anybody read that?"
But think about this. When we were growing up, you got on the spinner rack in the Optimo, the corner drugstore, the candy store, and etc. Now it's only a local comic shop. And comic shops are struggling to stay open. There are a lot of towns and cities. The next comic shop is 2 hours away. So distribution has a lot to do with why sales are down. The audience they're writing to, the price point, and you look at this too. You have a higher quality of paper, right? You also have a higher print run on books, and everybody's slabbing books now.
Oh.
So guess what? 40 years from now, all these books that are worth money right now due to speculation market, which to me is like insurance, it's a joke. They're going to be worth crap later on. You know why? There's going to be 5 million copies. They're all going to be in great condition. The whole point, the reason why there's a value for golden and silver age books is because the paper did deteriorate, because people were throwing away the comics and didn't know what they were valued. They weren't put in a slab and preserved. So people are spending all this money on CGC, and I really feel it's going to run its course, and in 40 years, people are going to be sitting on these 9.8s that they bought all this money for, and they'll be worth crap because everybody's going to have one.
I disagree. It's not going to be
from this time period. I mean,
yeah, it's not going to be 40 years, buddy. It's going to be like in 5 years. It's going to blow even faster because all I got to do is look at what happened in '89. Look at what happened in '94. For example, people were saying like when Spider-Man #1 came out, it came out in the gold version, the silver version, the bagged version, all that stuff.
Yeah, they had holograms, all that crap. Yeah.
Right. But
gimmicks, like variant covers.
But there were so many of them. Like, after a while, everybody had one. So what's the big deal? Now, you go to X-Men 273, was it? That they had the first appearances of Cyclops, I don't know, any kind of character. First time Jim Lee did one. They were very limited in that run. Mm-hmm. And they go like, now that one is worth something because not many people kept it. Why is Superman's first appearance in Action Comics worth so much? Because there's so little of them. There's so few of them.
Here's a perfect example. X-Men #1, when Claremont and Jim Lee did it, it's the most sold book in comic history. Is worth crap. It's got amazing the whole gatefold cover, like you said. There was other versions. It's worth nothing because there are so many made. You could buy one in a dollar bin at any show. Any store, and yet you had Scott Williams inking Jim Lee with Chris Claremont as a writer, and it was an amazing book. It looked gorgeous, but yeah, there's 10 tons of them, so they're worth nothing. Death of Superman, worth nothing because it was a gimmick.
Comic book shops appeared in Puerto Rico in the first real, because like I said, the only way you could get comics at one time in Puerto Rico was through the pharmacies and the Walgreens of the world.
Right.
Maybe a Kmart, something like that. The first real store came up was not even a store. It was a lady who put a section inside a pharmacy, a local pharmacy, that she had a little section where she put her books or comics. And you would check it I think it was Fridays when they arrived or something like that. Because it would take time to get over from the States, and then it would be there. And then I would go there, and they would have them there on little racks and stuff in the corner. And that was the first real local comic book store. Now, she brought it, then from there, she got to a store into the biggest small store in the biggest mall, and then started to pop up in different areas, little stores. So then all of a sudden, the market was becoming, and that's when we had the Image thing coming up, the Spider-Man #1, all that stuff was actually boom. That's when the stuff actually started in Puerto Rico, and that's when I was actually working in the industry and trying to make it in. And like I tell everybody, there were no comic book shows at that time. There was no cons at that time. The very first con that we had in Puerto Rico was in 1992. And I don't know where I have it now. I have it put away because I'm trying to make a restoration what I'm going to talk about now. But I was one of only it was myself and two other artists that they brought. I was very lucky to be in part of this panel, because I was just a local kid doing this. But I was the only three artists that was at that show was myself, Jeff Smith of Bone, and Dave Sims of Cerebus.
Nice.
That's the three of us.
Good company, man.
It was like, the little song, one of these things doesn't. Yeah. That was me. I was the one of the things that's not like the other. Yeah. And Jeff did a great sketch for me, and I have it there, and I did one for him, and it was like.
Love that series, Bone.
And that was great. And that was when it just started. And Cerebus was already on its way towards the end of its run. So that was the biggest thing at that moment in 92. And then after that, then it became, now there's actually a Puerto Rico Comic Con and stuff like that.
Right.
But at the beginning, it was so hard to get any kind of comic books and stuff. It was very difficult. I remember that when The Watchmen came out in original run, my brother and I had to spend so much trouble finding them that we would actually order them through, I think it was Mile High Comics at one time, to try to get them.
Right.
Because we get them
You always have those ads.
Yeah, I couldn't. I actually got one of my House of Secrets I have here. It was certified by them as the best copy they ever found of that book. And actually,
oh, really?
Maybe I should slab that one.
By the way, Daniel Barker makes a good point. He's talking about how many copies a store has to buy to get the price down. Like DC and Marvel will sit there and say, their tier pricing is great for them, but it's not great for a store, because why would a store buy hundreds of copies of a book that they don't know if they're going to sell and then sit on this inventory? Now, DC will take some back. I don't think Marvel does, but I mean, it's all speculation buying as a comic store owner, because they gotta know their own clientele, their regular pull people, right? How many people order that one book, and then you've got to order maybe one or two extra, figuring maybe walk in somebody looking for it. You're not ordering that many books to get those lower prices, so they're not making much off of each new book.
Okay, I'm gonna give this story real quick, and then we can move on to something else, because I don't want to spend the whole time on this, because we could be here all night just talking about this.
Wait, whose show is it? We'll talk about what the hell I want to talk about, man.
It's like I have taken over. Anyway.
Lou was right. You were right, Lou.
All right, so you can look at the following. This is a perfect example of the situation of the local comic book stores. Local media thinks comic books are stupid. So, why do I say that? Comic books are not given the same respect as movies and music. Where do I get that from? When you have the New York Times printing on a Monday that Batman number 50 reveals that there is no freaking wedding, 2 days before it launches on the bill. Can you imagine the New York Times printing, oh, by the way, Tony Stark dies at the end of Avengers?
Oh, you just spoiled it for a bunch of viewers.
Doing that. You know, so what happens? You have a comic book store who cannot return their material.
Exactly.
They cannot return it. That's why they have this back issue market, because they cannot return the material. They're not like Amazon. They're not like Barnes & Noble, Walden Books, that they could return it from there was a newsstand. They can't. They got to eat it. Right? People canceling their orders because
I know.
they're expecting something, and now that it isn't there, now I don't want it. Because
I know a few stores that did like a whole big thing about the Batman wedding, and then this thing came out, and people didn't show up. People didn't want their books. They had midnight, releases. I know, release parties.
And so imagine that. Imagine that they're revealing that the ending of Call of Duty.
Right.
Comes out. No. So what is that lack of respect is what's produced that issue, that situation. And therefore, who does it hurt? It didn't hurt DC because at the end of the day, they already sold it. They already sold them.
Mm-hmm.
It hurt their image. It may have hurt them like, oh, wow, why did you do that? And it's like, no, but it's not DC's fault that the New York Times did that. Of course, they protested and they say, why did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. But in reality, they didn't care. They didn't care.
Well, New York Times got hits and hits for looking at their stuff, so they made money. DC made money selling all those books. The comic store is the one that lost. The poor guy, or gal running a comic store.
And I spoke to him and said, man, they took a bloodbath. It was a
lot of them lost. Yep.
Because they can't do anything with it, and then therefore people are not like. Personally, in my opinion, this is me. I bought the book even though I didn't want it because I felt bad. I said, and I just took it and I said, actually, give me 2 more, and I did. I ripped them and I threw them out, and I just kept my copy. And I said, no, man, it's like, why? They're going to be worthless anyway. So,
by the way, Bill Field in the house. What's up, Bill? So go ahead.
So, I mean, okay, we're saying, isn't that why they get the product 30% cheaper? I don't know who's they're talking about. But
I wasn't sure either what he was talking about.
I don't think the local comic stores get it at that cheaper. And right now, with the situation with DC distributing this separately from everybody else, they're getting even hosed even more because that major discount when you buy a lot is now divided into 2 different companies. And that's a whole other issue. I don't even want to go into.
Yeah. Let's go more positive. Let's get back to you.
Let's go back to me. Yeah.
All right.
I'm interested.
So you have Stupendous out, you have Horrendous on the way, and then you've got the Kickstarter coming at the early next year.
Yeah.
Any other projects that you have going on?
That's a print I'm going to give out for anybody who buys the Horrendous. This is a print based off of the sketch I did for the cover. We had all of us contributed a little bit to the cover this time, and I did a female vampire. Of course, this is the PG version. The Regal version, which was asked not to be published, is more of the Bill McKay kind of version. So, yeah. And anyway, if you pre-order it on my store, which I'm plugging here, you can see it. I'm scrolling about.
And Bill was nice. He put it up as well. Bill put the link in the chat.
Yeah, you get the mini print of my lino done by Diano Silva with a little card. It's double-sided trade card. They're all going to be. They're numbered.
What about that Hawk girl you showed me earlier? That was nice.
And these are numbered, so you get that as a pre-order. So be sure to try to take advantage of that. Going back, what other projects I got? Well, right now I'm fully vested on the Not So Fair Tales. I still am. I'm the inker for Soul Eraser. It's an interesting storyline. It's in a separate universe of Triple Threat Comics. It's also part of Eric Hernandez and Ian Miller. They're going to be, by the way, at my right next to me at the December 6th show. So you can see us all. All 3 of the artists who worked on Stupendous will be there. But you'll only be able to buy it from me because I told them that's the only way it works. So
you probably did too.
I did tell them that.
I don't doubt it.
I did tell them you can only buy it from me because they're better. They got more things to sell than I do, and especially Keith. So
the mayor.
I'm doing Soul Eraser. I'm the inker for another book that's going to be written and illustrated by Matt Parton. It's called the Mighty Atomic Thunderbolt, but it's going to be put on hiatus. At least maybe we won't be able to produce it in 2021 like we were hoping. And the reality is success breeds delays. And Matt has been getting a lot of work. He's just been hired to do illustrations for an author's children's books. They like this so much he's going to be hired now for the second book. He just did this piece for a drive-in that he does of the Freddy Krueger's this Friday these Nightmare on Elm Street promotional. That was like a series of movies at night, and all the actors liked so much what he's doing. They're asking him to do posters for them to sell at shows. So he's designing all that stuff. So he's become really busy. So we're going to have to put the Thunderbolt on hiatus for now. But that's possibly coming out. I'm also looking out for another anthology that I'm going to propose. I just saw it today. I'm going to send it to it. And there's another one down the line. So, and there'll be a new Stupendous probably coming up. but I'm hoping that we do Spacious or something like that. Because I want to do something in sci-fi. And that was funny because somebody asked me that the other day at a get together we had virtually after the Diversity Con, and somebody said, "I heard you said you did Stupendous, now you did Horrendous. Is there another us coming?" I'm like, "Well, I'm hoping it's Spacious because I don't know what's coming up." But
See, I'm being nice. I had a joke right there, and I didn't go with it.
oh, really? We can leave it for the OnlyFans issue of this thing. So.
Yeah.
There we go. So, yeah. Hey, oh my God! Look who I have over here on Instagram. I'm gonna send a shout out to my friend Dominic Glover.
Dominic is watching.
Yeah, he's watching over on the other side.
What's up, Dominic?
Yeah. So thanks for joining over here. I'm trying to convince. I'm gonna try to get Dominic on my show, but like I said, I'm booked through February, and it feels kind of weird, like in October, to tell them, "Hey, come to my show. You'll be in March." What? So
I've had to do that before. I mean, I've had people. I'm booked all the way through to March, and they were interested. And when I told them that, they were like, "Okay, thanks, see ya." I'm sorry. What am I gonna tell you?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Whoa.
Oh, by the way, we have a question. What do you think about Jim Starlin's take on the industry?
To be honest, I don't know who you're talking about. I'll be totally frank. I don't know.
You don't know who Jim Starlin is?
Wait, Jim. It's Starling.
No, it's Starlin. Yeah, but you don't know who he meant just because he added a G. Come on.
I wanted to be sure, man.
Don't be a ball buster. Don't be a ball buster.
And by the way, I haven't heard what he said. Actually. I haven't heard what he said.
I'm not sure either, but I know that he's done things to take shots at the industry, even in his storytelling. So I don't think he has a good outlook on the industry personally, but I'm not sure either. Eternitine, if you could, feel free in the chat to elaborate on what his thoughts on the industry are, and maybe we can talk about it.
Oh, I don't want to answer that question I saw down there. I'm not answering that.
No need to apologize. I knew what you meant, so you added a G. Big deal. Enrique's just being a pain in the ass.
That's true. I am. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean that, honestly. I thought it was Phil doing it, so that's why I was busting him. I'm not answering that question that Lou just threw up, all right? That's not for me to answer.
Yeah, I was going to stay away from that, too, because we don't, honestly.
I'll just say this. All my autographs are free. I'll leave it at that. But look, okay, I'm not going to answer that question per se, because I'm not talking about anybody who does or doesn't do. My situation is totally mine, and I can live without doing that. Others may not be able to. Because
writers need to, because they don't have a page to sell. They can't do commissions. So.
Right. So
but he's talking about artists.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's totally different. So each one does his own,
Well, here's the thing. Real quick, I'll just say this. I don't think charging for signature is an issue when it comes to, you got to face it, if somebody brings 100 issues for you to sign, I mean,
which I've seen happen.
Yeah. So that is one reason why a lot of people charge. The other is, if it is being CGC'd, they're going to flip it for money. They're like, well, you're making money off my signature. I should make some money off my signature. So I get that. Well, it's the flippers that are causing these prices to go up.
Like when I was talking to Jim Starlin on one of those shows, I remember that somebody came over, and I think he actually there was one company that said, unless you're from this company, I'm not doing it because they don't pay me.
Some of them do that, yeah.
Yeah, so unless I'm only doing this company for these signatures and stuff. So some people have deals like that. Cool. It's and most of the time, from what I understand, Jim Starlin doesn't keep that money. He puts it in for the Hero Initiative. Most of that stuff. So he doesn't really. He's actually putting it over our side. So I remember that an artist we know wasn't charging, and we told him, dude, you can't.
Yeah.
You cannot do this. You got people bringing these stacks, and
you can't be sitting there signing 20 or 30 things and you're trying to get a commission done either. You're losing money there.
Yeah. So, I mean, if somebody comes in to bring one, okay, fine. Like there was one artist I went to once and I just needed his signature for that. And he goes like $20. I go, what? Really? Okay, fine, whatever, man.
Yeah, everything's got its degrees of what's fair and makes sense.
Okay, you'll become. He's nameless here, but I'm going like whatever, man. You know, I have one option at that moment. I can say, okay, thanks, no thanks. You know, or okay, cool, here it is. So, I've always said it like if people are willing to pay for it, go for it. You know, and you can tell by yourself. You know, if you're charging everything. You know, today I had when a person wants to buy my Stupendous books and Horrendous, he says, and tell me how much is for your signature. I'm like, nothing. They're part of the deal. They're part of the deal. Now, when I become multi-famous and stuff like that, and I want to be a real jerk, I will charge you then.
Just do the Telemundo voice, man. You could go on Telemundo and.
I'll do that later when I'm a little more tired.
Yeah, I come up with nicknames for everybody. I call Keith Williams the mayor because he has that bright smile. He just lights up a room, and he's always pleasant. And I call Enrique Telemundo because he's got that deep voice, the Latino accent. You sound like the guy on the Telemundo channel.
Goal! There we go. Here. Well, Dell actually has an interesting question. It won't win to print, but it's cool. So.
Dell? What is he on? What did he move to Instagram?
No, he's over here. I was seeing it over here on the way back. It was actually way back.
It was hard to keep up with the questions. They were coming so fast and furious, and you were talking, so I didn't want to interrupt you with them. So.
Yeah, he's asking like favorite character to draw. I don't have one yet, honestly, because what I've been doing now. First of all, nobody asked me to draw anything, so it's like, hey. So
you're available for commissions.
I'm always available for commission. My list is so vastly empty. It's awesome. You will be top of the list. Actually, no, I'm actually doing 2 right now. So, they like which ones I've enjoyed the most. I think it'll be easier for me to answer which artists I've enjoyed most working and inking over exactly. I can say James Avila is one of my favorites to do. I usually do digital.
He's such a nice guy.
And he's a great kid. And I hate him because he's got great hair. And and the thing is,
my daughters met him. They go, "Is that Anakin, Daddy?" I said, "No, honey, it's not Anakin."
That's his nickname. Oh my God, that's what I'm gonna call him next time I see him. Hey, Anakin, get over here.
I'm telling you, I come up with nicknames, but actually, I got to credit my kid on that one.
Yeah. Now that I'm referring to him, let me bring these up for a second here. So I enjoyed a lot over him because it's very, very clean. It's very easy for me to see. People probably have seen this one already.
You were kind enough to donate that for the Q&A, and someone won that print already.
And this one as well.
Nice.
So these are 2 I've done with him. And we're going to be
doing them on canvas too, right?
Yeah. Actually, as you mentioned it, yeah, they're right here. It is actually a printed canvas. You can see it like fully all the way around.
That's nice. Will they be at the show?
You can get these. Yeah, I'm gonna bring them. Yeah, these are the last 2 I have. I'm like right now. I can print more, but what I'm doing on the store, any print that I have on my store, any print you see there, I can convert it into one of these. These are 12 by 18, very lightweight, and I can sign them. I'm signing them. They're all numbered individually, so you can see that. You got this one, and that was all white, but now you see the Ghost Rider.
Yeah, really, that. Hang on, let me take that off. that's nice. I love the And DC did a nice job on the coloring too.
Yeah, he did. This was
3 of you work well together.
This was all digital inks. I did this on the computer. All these were.
That's a great piece.
And it's like these are the last 2 I have. I've done another gentleman I like to ink over. Unfortunately, he has passed away already. Zach Dolan. He is from New Jersey. Let me show you some of the pieces I've done with him. My most popular, number 1 selling one that I did with him was this one. Anybody who's been to my table can see it because it's my post.
Yeah.
It's what I
raise it up a little too so you can see the bottom. Your name was there. You go. Nice.
They're both. You got 2 of them, and I sell this one both sides. You have it on a lefty and a righty because in the game he started as a lefty character, and the most recent one he went righty because people can't play with a lefty apparently. On the games. Then I also did this one with him. This is my splatter version, which has got blood flying all over the place from the Resident Evil 2. I also did which other one with him? This one is also with him. This is before Marvel bought both entities, so
Now, is that a metal print?
No, it's just really well. No, it's not a metal print, buddy. It is
Look at the shine.
quality.
Yeah, look at the shine on that. That's a nice quality print. Look at that.
No, these kicks everybody's butt. I'm sorry,
dude. I love the concept of Conan versus a Predator. That's just awesome.
Yeah, I'm thinking that we can probably see that eventually. Let me see. This is a piece of mat. So if you're gonna if you ever want to see the Humpy Dumpy story that's coming up, this is the kind of artwork Matt did this.
And there's Anakin. Look, it's James.
And this is one of those happy accidents. Originally, the faces were supposed to be in the corners on each side, and he did it in the middle. And I go like, well, you know what? It actually works.
It does.
And so it actually, and then on the bottom you can see the other. So this is, the Sith Lords, all the Sith Lords.
Sith Lord. Yeah, what the hell's his name again?
Darth Maul and Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren. That's it.
Here's another popular one. I can't imagine why. This is from a gentleman from Germany. He and I did this one together.
Look at that and the lizard. Oof.
All these are digital inks. All these are this one is digital.
Dude, you should make metal prints out of these.
Yeah, I can do them though. And this one is mine. This is all mine. This is my inking and my drawing.
Black Panther.
Yeah. All these are colored by DC Alonso, who is doing now heavy metal. So I'm really pro. And it's hard because like right now I have this one coming up. He already colored it, but we're making some changes to it that I don't know if you can see it. There you go.
Yeah, I saw it. Nice. Yeah.
This one's already coming up.
I like the perspective.
Yeah, so I did that one recently. So yeah, those are nice little things that are coming up there.
By the way, George Vega's with us. He's another great guy, an excellent artist. He said true facts about Link.
Yeah. Trying to see what's going on with it. All right. Yeah, because of it was funny because I was at a show and somebody came to me and he said, dude, what? You have him as a right-hander? I was like, yeah, that's the way he was drawn. I said, well, he's a lefty. You know that, right? And like, yeah, I know that, but this is the artist. The artist edition.
See, I would not know a video game character is lefty or righty.
So what I ended up doing, and of course I don't have it prepared. So I ended up doing is taking the original version that was already colored and everything by DC, and I flipped it. But when I flipped it, all the signatures and stuff was getting messed up. So I actually cropped them and I had to rework some of the details on the bottom of it so it would mash up. And then would go. So now I had a lefty and a righty. Then I produced black and white versions of it, so I could have black and white versions of because a lot of people like the black and white only inks version of it. And then when I did a show in Akron, Ohio last year, for my table because I was a guest for that show, I decided to do a print for the show. So I did a side-by-side version, mini version of the full thing with the logo of the show and everything. So they gave that away. I didn't give it away. I was selling as an exclusive there. And then I actually did a printed canvas of it. It was huge. Like it was like the double of these. Like imagine these two together. That's how big it was. And it was funny because this guy, he had a backpack and everything. He walked by my table. He looked at his eye. How much is that? So I sell that for $100 in New York. No, but anyway, it's like. So I'm gonna put it right here, like 75, 70, okay, $50. I don't remember how much I sold for. So it's like he went around, he left. So I'm talking to somebody else, and then he comes by again. He says, "Oh, I'm just walking." Okay, keep walking, man, no problem. Then I had to go to the little boy's room, and
for you, it might be a little boy. For me, it's man.
Well, okay, things that. Right now, I can't really say this because I've gained so much weight. I've gained too much weight. But before, I could have easily have said, well, because of your girth, that's why it's the big boy room. Yeah,
meanwhile, you stood next to me. I lost 40 pounds. You gained it.
I found him, man, big time. So that's why you're not seeing me this way. Yeah. Anyway, but the thing is that, so I'm out, and I'm trying to take a moment of peace. And my brother's like texting me, dude, you gotta come here, you gotta come here, you gotta come here. I was like, what's going on? And I go out there, and I was expecting to see this kid again. It's not him. It was another gentleman. He looked like Billy Gibbons from the ZZ Top, man. It was like beard and all this kind of stuff. And he started talking to me about the art. Man, I really like this piece. You know, that looks really good. How do you do that? And we're just talking. And I know we shouldn't do this as an artist and stuff, but I mentally made a picture of who you have an idea who's going to buy something, who's not. And I was reading this guy. Everything was telling me he's not. He's just making conversation.
Because most people who do all that talking aren't looking to buy, right?
Right. Just doing conversation. Just doing conversation. But he says, I really like the way that Vampirella looks because I had it in canvas as well. And I'm really like, oh yeah, man, it's one of my best pieces. Blah blah. So he says, how much is that? I said, this much. He goes like, okay, how much are these prints? And we start asking about something. Oh, this one. And my brother's like watching me all this time. So all of a sudden the guy goes like, you know what? I want that Vampirella. Give me that Vampirella. Give me these prints. Give me this book. And I want it. How much is that? Okay, we're closing shop today. So I'm like, so while this is going on, this kid again is coming by. And he's looking. And now the guy looks at, wait, but how much is that one of the guy in the greens? The kid, no, that's mine. It's like.
Well, you know, a lot of con goers.
You want it now? Because I want it. Okay.
Well, you know why he kept going by your table? A lot of guys keep walking to see if it sells, and they figure if by the end of the con it doesn't sell, you're going to drop your price even more just to get rid of it. Yeah, that's what he was doing.
Take it back with me.
But but there are some people that just, all right, I'll get rid of it. I don't want to take it back. So they look to see. And what he was going to probably do is approach you towards the end of the show if it didn't sell and try to haggle you down and see if you'll sell it for less. That's what that kid was doing. That's why he kept coming around.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't blame him because for example, when I used to do New York Comic Con only one day, maybe one day, when we started, because that was the only day we could get one day. I always chose Sunday because Sunday is the desperate day, the day that nobody wants to take anything home. So you're there to pick up the good deals. You know, how much you give me for this? Wow, give me this, John, give me this and this, and I'll pay you this much. Okay, so that's the way it's done. I will always do it as a fan. Now that I'm on the other side of the table, oh my God, it's a Sunday. You know what this means, right? Hey, bargain day, bargain.
I'm a convention vendor's happy moment because I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm not waiting and risking losing it. If I want it, I want it. Unless it's outrageously priced, I expect to pay what I expect to. I go in knowing what something's going to cost, and I don't haggle anybody down because I'm not paying your mortgage. I either can pay for it or I can't. Now, if you decide to say to me as I'm walking away, you know what? I'll do this for you. Well, that's different. I didn't haggle you. I didn't ask you to lower your price. I will never go up to an artist and say, can you do cheaper? I will never do that. I'll say I can or I can't. If the artist comes back and says, well, I'll do this, then that's up to them.
You showed that to me today because you said you liked the print that I did of the Hawk Girl that you wanted for your daughter.
I support artists.
And you said, how much is it? And I said, no. Well, I'll get it for you when we said, no, how much is it? I said, it's $10. I said, okay, fine, I'll pay you. No, Phil, sounds okay. No, I'll pay it. I
support artists. I don't. You guys don't have. I mean, a guy like George Vega, who's drawing. I believe he's drawing for a living. He's not. He doesn't have another job, a day gig. He doesn't have health insurance. He doesn't get personal time off. Art supplies are expensive. You know what I mean? So you got to support artists, especially artists that are trying to get their break in the industry. You have to support them. That's how I feel. I mean, look, everything's probably more money than you really want to spend these days. But at least that art goes up my wall. I mean, look behind me. Look behind you. It brings you some joy. It brings you some happiness. Am I boring you? Would you like to have a phone call with somebody?
No, I'm trying to post this here. I'm trying to post this here because the show's going to end up on this side. I'm telling people to come over here after that. See, I'm plugging your show, man. Give me a break. Besides, you're already rambling. Okay, wait.
I'm rambling? Holy crap. Hour and 44 minutes. I have probably about 14 minutes of talking time. Anyway.
It can't be as bad as having that kid, the actor who worked. Somebody calculated how many minutes he was in the movie. The guy who did that one of the evil guys in the Hogwarts. He spent like 11 years doing those movies. He was only in there for like 15 minutes, like something like that. So yeah.
I thought we probably get paid pretty well.
Yeah. So what were you saying? So yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
That's very good. the one of the things I like about when you talk about pricing, like I'm going to once again show the canvas here. One of the coolest thing about this canvas is that they're each made handmade. They're handmade.
They have to be pulled and stretched over the wood. Exactly.
Now you can go to New York Comic Con, for example, and there is, I saw them, and I saw there was like these type of, they were like prints done on canvas, but these are like assembly line version because they're all exactly the same, and they were like even more expensive than mine. I'm like little teeny tiny ones. I'm like, what's the big deal? But the thing is that when you buy one of these, let's say you want another copy of 2 copies of this, I guarantee you they'll be close to each other, but there may be a little more in, a little more out because somebody's put together, and that's what I think. And also you get that little numbering in the back. It gives it a uniqueness. So I like that. And like I said, if there's a print you like for example, the format is already done for these 2, the Vampirella, the Sith Lords, the Link, double Link is done, and the Resident Evil, they already exist ready to be done new. But if let's say you like the Spider-Gwen when it comes up in color, you say, man, I really like that one, can that be made into a canvas? Absolutely. I just have to redo it, and it may not be exactly the same way because the format will change, because it's 11 by 17 to 12 by 18. Something may have to give, but it'll be pretty good. It'll get a nice little, and it looks like it's been painted on. They're really good. They're really, really nice. What were you laughing about? What, to somebody?
No, the canvases do look really nice. Yeah, I just wanted to show you. According to the BBPA, Beautiful Bald People Association, in order to be considered bald, your head has to be shiny.
What,
your head is not shiny enough. I'm getting bald. Look at me.
Man, it's shiny as much because I got the light on top. Is on purpose.
It's because his head's pointy. That's why you don't see the shine.
There you go.
So we're gonna wrap up soon, but a couple things. You want to tell people how we met?
Do I have to?
You don't want to.
I mean, how do we meet? I don't like actual meeting or actually how I got on your show.
Well, when we first met was the first communication you sent, and the second, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth.
I really don't remember.
You tell the story all the time. You're so full of crap.
No, I really don't remember how I found out about your show. I'm still hazy about that. I don't know if it was through Billy. I don't know if it was through Keith, because people who know me, that most of the time, like this weekend was one of those rare occasions that Keith will have a booth, will be on a table, and I won't be next to him. You won't find that very often. And even for this show coming up in December, hey, we're next to each other. So it's, how odd is that? But no, and part of it, I've been saying it for a long time. Keith is always stalking me and finding out where I'm going. But in that occasion, I think I was trying to find out where he was to get one back at him. And when I saw the webpage of the show, and I said, first of all, it's a one-day show. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I was looking at the lineup, and I was thinking, wait a minute, I got to get in on this thing, and how to do it. And so I just sent Phil a note. I said, look, is there available? No, it's full. I said, well, will anybody quit out? And he goes, no, but maybe. I was like, well, I would really like to get in the show. Okay, well, you're on a wait list. Okay, fine. How many people on the list? That's a few people. I said, okay, fine. So he says, let me know in about a week. Well, a few days later, I said, well, I know it's not a week, but are we anywhere closer? So no, nobody's locked. It's all closed up. I said, okay, fine. A few days later, what? Nothing happening? And he was like, I think by the time it's like the 5th time I emailed, he was like, look, apparently you really want to do the show, and there's somebody who's going to cancel. I don't give a damn. He's out. He's out. And you're in.
Because he was. It was. I'm not going to get into it or that individual, but it was a person that is not trustworthy with their commitments, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to trust that this person is really going to be here. Then they wound up showing up after all, which again was a last-minute decision. So I wound up just squeezing in another table because I'm good with space. But you always tell the story like how you emailed me so many times and annoyed me. But honestly, I am always very grateful when someone's that interested in my show. It means I'm doing something right, that you want to be there. So for me to think you're annoying me when you want to invest in my show, and you're putting your faith in me that I'm going to give you a venue that provides an opportunity for you, that is a good setup for you, that helps you strive to succeed. How the hell could I take that as an annoyance? You know what I mean? I mean, think about it. It could be nobody wants to do the show. So you thought you were annoying me. You weren't annoying me at all. And that's why I always respond. I respond to everybody right away. And it was a good show. I mean, we had 2,000 people show up in that little room. And, Scott Williams, Alex Sinclair, Mark Bagley. What?
Despite the fact that Game of Thrones was launching that night. So,
dude, that's what kills me. If that's stupid, those parties weren't going on, I probably had 3,000 people all the way to the end.
Look, so many people can complain about shows and stuff, and I know some people are like, even for that show, other shows of yours and other shows have been at, you don't get the performance you were hoping. But for me, I remember when that was your second show. There was a time I couldn't see the guys in front of me because everybody was packed in. Now,
I loved it.
Where were they heading? Well, they were not packed up in my table, and by the way, that show, I did it with my daughter. So we split the table because I didn't have that much to go with anyway. So it was easier to have stuff between the two of us. And she made a killing, by the way. She did really well too with her manga stuff because nobody else was doing manga. She was like.
And I had a bunch of cosplayers that bought manga. Yeah, manga.
He went over there. So the thing is that the people at that show, the way Phil was organizing things, he had the Latin group over here. No, he had a penciler, inker, colorist set up, and the guy at the end was none other than Scott Williams. So people who wanted to go in line to get in front of him had to go through my table and get over there. And so people were watching.
Which is intentionally by design.
Right. And then you had Larry Stroman with Mark Morales and Keith Williams in the one area. Ryan Kincaid behind him next there. And so
Marat was right next to him in the crease.
James Avila was in front of me.
Chris Sotomayor was there.
Yeah.
Will Conrad.
I think it was actually next to. I think Chris was actually in front of me because behind him was Mark Bagley. So, yeah. And I believe Billy was over in the corner right here. He had the whole.
Billy was right. It was Billy then Mark Bagley.
Yes. Okay. Right. Billy and Mark. Right. Mark was like looking at the door coming, basically. So yeah, I in reality, I think Phil gives it too much idea that I really wanted to be there, but it's the fact that it was the only show that weekend, and I was just starting out, and it looked like a good place for me to get shown off, and he just looks at it a different way. I really wanted to be there, but in reality, it's just another show.
Listen, being just another show means I'm in existence, so that's good enough for me.
Honestly, if anybody, Phil and I have a friendship going on. Well, at least I call it. I don't know if it's like a friendship or not. It was more like tolerance. But the thing is that when, as an artist, especially an upcoming individual like myself at that moment, who had no track record, nothing anywhere, and I see something like that artist alley outside of a New York Comic Con, Terrificon, and stuff with shows like that, you go like, and you feel like you can actually get in on that one without having to go through submission and being approved and all this other stuff. And
I looked at what you were selling and stuff, but yeah, I'm not pompous about it.
No, yeah, I mean, you're not going to. If I was selling stick figures, you were like, I don't think so. But the point is that it's accessible. You got to try to, even as an artist, you got to try for it. And I feel
just real quick, I want to make it clear. It's not about how good or bad, quote unquote, an artist is to get into my show. It's about the appropriateness of the art. I'm not here to decide what's good art and what's bad. That's a subjective thing. You don't get knocked out just because, and this isn't specifically towards you, mind you, but if there was an artist that I didn't think was a great artist, why would I not let them be at the show just because I'm not big on their art? That's just arrogant crap. An artist, and I also don't believe that. If you're not a published artist, you're not an artist. You're considered a vendor, and I understand why promoters do that. I don't do that. because you know what? There are a lot of great artists that just haven't been published yet. That doesn't mean they don't belong in Artist Alley. And I just look at appropriateness. If it's really violent or extremely sexualized, no, I want families. If my kids can't go look at your table, that's why you can't be there, unless you can bring something else other than that.
Well,
That's the only thing.
I know some artists who have a little extreme stuff, yet they're able to do your show because they leave some of that stuff at home. They don't bring it. You know,
Right, and I told them that. I said, "Look, I'm sorry, but nothing that's overtly sexual. Nothing that's violent. I don't do the horror crap. Like, do I mind if it was an adult show? No, but I don't want my 8 and 6-year-old looking at someone ripping a head off, or someone's gut sticking out, or a woman with her things sticking out. You know,
can't bring Horrendous over. Oh no.
Yeah.
Actually, Horrendous is PG.
But it's a book. You're not going to open the book for the kids. I'm talking about prints and stuff that's sitting out. If you're selling a horror book, you're just not going to open the book for children. That's fine. But if your prints are sitting all out, no, I'm sorry. Or like cosplayers are at shows, they get tables and they're half naked. Look, nothing against them. Good for you. I think it's fine. I don't begrudge anybody their right to dress however they want. But I don't want my 8-year-old and 6-year-old looking at it, and I would assume that another parent wouldn't want their kids to see that either. So I'm just not going to have that there. It's just, that's it.
I'll leave the risque version at home then. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Like when you came with just tassels on, it was not good. You had to go put a shirt on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like I'll put these up, but then it's.
Yeah. I mean that's not terrible. If that's like a bathing suit, you know what I mean?
Not terrible. It's a nice drawing, man. What the hell's wrong with you?
What I mean is the sexualization. It's like wearing a bathing suit, So it wouldn't be terrible. I would, obviously, I wouldn't want it plastered everywhere for my kids to see. But
yeah.
But anyway, besides that,
there's a little something I'm trying to do now with watercolors and stuff. So
nice.
So. Yeah, my dad. The thing I don't have them to sell. This is the only one because I give it to my dad. My dad steals them all. After saying for years that he didn't want me to do art, now he takes them all. So it's like,
you know what? I stand correct. The only person with the horror thing that could be at my show is Chris Mad. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, Bendit. No, he's like,
Chris is a good guy. Better late than never, but good guy.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing I wanted to bring up is I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old, and I forgot where it came from. I think it was a show they watched, but they were Snowdrop and Diddums. And Enrique took a photo that I posted on Instagram of them, and he drew them as superheroes. He put them in costumes and called them Snowdrop and Diddums.
Hey, Chris.
And it was an awesome picture that I'm sorry I don't have to show you. It was great. Now, my youngest, she just recently had a bad fall and really messed up her head. I mean, she was bleeding. But she's such a tough kid. It was going into school. She didn't cry. She's like, "No, I'm going to school." We're like, "Are you sure?" I mean, look at you. She goes, "No, I'm going to school." So she went. I mean, she's bleeding. Her head's all messed up. She goes to school. She comes home, and she's just fine. And I'm always joking around with that hashtag Cyclops was right because in that story Avengers vs. X-Men, Cyclops was right. And I'm a big Cyclops fan. So Enrique just drew for me my daughter as Snowdrop with her head kind of busted up based on what happened, but she's holding Cyclops' mask and she goes, "Cyclops was wrong." So I thought it was awesome. It was really cool. We appreciated it, and my daughter puffed out her chest proud when she saw it, like, "Yeah, I'm tough." So
the little Cyclops, there, right down there. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. It says Cyclops was wrong. It was great.
The thing is that I drew her wearing this kind of snow gear and stuff, so I actually put her there. We noticed that one of the goggles was messed up after the fight.
Yeah. And that's what her head looked like. I mean, it was bad. It wasn't just road rash. She was raw and bleeding. It was it was messed up. And I mean, I'm a tough dad. Not tough, hard on them in the sense that I'm cruel, but, life, you got to shake it off sometimes. And I looked at her and I was like, "Oh, crap. Tough kid." Very proud. But that was really nice of you on both drawings.
Hey, man, it's like, I know I got to get my butter your bread so I can get a table. So anyway.
Speaking of which, just want to remind everybody, Enrique's next con appearance will be at my show. And there it is right there. I'm a nurse, a registered nurse, so I promise you infectious disease and infection control is my career, and we will require masks and social distancing, and there are no aisles. It's an open room concept because I will not have people jammed up in aisles. And we will have sanitizer stations, and we will be cleaning constantly throughout the day. I mean, literally, I have staff that will be wiping down and disinfecting everything, as Dante joked, doorknobs, polishing doorknobs. Right, Heather?
Yeah,
And
got a polish by now.
yeah, I said right, Heather, because she laughed at that when I said it the first time. So, so this is December 6th. It's 10 to 6 p.m. We have a ton of great artists. Enrique is there. Like I said, he'll be sitting next to Keith Williams and Larry Stroman and Triple Threat Comics. And Rodney Ramos will be there. Billy Tucci, Sean Chen, Alex Rivera, Tony Cordos, Mauro Zapata, Chris Mad. A lot of great people will be there. Lou, who's been on here, I don't know if he's still with us, will be there. But so just want to let you know, come support this. I am doing this show, and I mean this sincerely. I'm not trying to paint a picture. I know, I'm going to read Chris in a minute. I'm not trying to paint some good guy picture for me. I literally was doing this because artists were struggling, and they're sitting on inventory, and I wanted to get them an opportunity to sell. It's a $5 cash store, so I'm not really making money on this. It's to be affordable, and I want to give people hope. I do. I want to give them hope right now. There are people that feel hopeless. They don't feel in control. They feel like this isn't going to get better. And I say horse shit. Excuse my language. It will get better, and it starts here. So come out December 6th, but come out with good judgment. Come out wisely. Don't come out in large crowds. If you're sick, stay home. Wear your mask. Be clean. Cough into your elbow. Try not to be up on everybody. We can do this responsibly and have a great day. And Quique, Enrique will be there.
And I want to say something else because apparently you haven't said it yet. You know, I was waiting for you. You didn't say it. There will be an exclusive jam.
I was going to let you.
Jam. Oh, you didn't tell me that. And I know.
Well, I knew you would say it.
I would have had a drum roll or something, you know. And by the way, if you want Phil to wipe you down, Chris, that's up to you.
Yeah, that'll cost you extra, Chris.
If you want Nurse Russer to give you that wipe down.
Sponge bath.
Sponge bath, yeah!
Now you're like, all right, rubber glove. Who needed the enema? So go ahead. What were you going to say?
So there's going to be an exclusive jam piece that a whole bunch of the artists are getting together. And I'm waiting for the last artist to get it, which is Chris Mad. He should be getting it soon. I'm going to show you briefly some of the early inks that I did. Some of these will be a little slightly different once I go to put them in the computer. Because what I've done is that even though the jam piece, God, on the jam piece, there is a really 11 by 17, but I wanted to try to give every artist a nice little. So I'm doing them really big, much 9 by 12, and then we're going to reduce them, and I'm going to put them in the computer and put them all in. So these are in random order, not in random anymore. Okay, this is Michael Gerlich's version of the Sun God. Now his version actually has the legs going to be covered, so I actually extended them to make it look like a full print there. This was one I was really happy to do. This is one with Fathom by James Avila. The water, I already finished it, but it's digital, so I wanted to get that nice little effect in there. Chris's daughter is going to be doing the coloring once this is done. This is Pete Vasquez's All Might. We gotta put in that signature better because I try to do it and it's not good. This is from Mauro Zapata, the Max.
Yeah, man.
I really enjoyed doing that one. That was a lot of fun to do.
I'm trying to see if I have the pencils here. I had them somewhere.
Henry Martinez did Nova.
By the way, Henry Martinez, I got to get him on the show. He's a guy, he did Spirits of Vengeance in the 90s. He did Johnny Blaze. He did some Malibu books. And he's on this vampire book that he's doing now. Good guy, excellent artist.
And this is the last one I'm going to do. I'm going to cover this because I already deleted them from the version, but Phil knows what I'm doing. And Yeah. Yeah, okay. Everyone, you want to have a laugh? I was trying to do something. It didn't work out, and it looks like this. All right.
You gave him eyebrows on a helmet. I was like, Enrique, what are you doing?
I said, imagine when you solve the issue.
I'm glad you showed that.
So it's funny. It was like, it's got to look a little evil, I'm pissed off. And I'm like, but then it feels like, but he doesn't have eyebrows. He doesn't have.
You have eyebrows on a helmet, man.
Well, I'm the inker, man. I can be a little bit more creative. I'm embellishing, man. I'm embellishing. So he said, no, you're not. Get that crap out of there. So let me see if anything. Oh, okay. Let me show some of these.
Damn it! I'm trying to show it.
Some of my some of these happy pieces I've done. This is a Paul Abrams I did a while ago. This is one of my favorites that I've done. This is the dark beauty of him. I really enjoyed how I pulled off the hair, and I used a lot of combinations of stuff here to really
Very
get
nice.
that one in there. This was actually one of my first inking jobs that I did for this gentleman, Rex Sinder. He actually gave me a challenge, and it's one of a very popular piece. And I think you have this one there. I think
that's one of the prints that I can give away for free, which you can win this print today, whoever gets the best question.
The original inks on the Mikey. And it's one of my, and actually in my sketchbook, I show how I did the process of doing it, which is kind of weird because everybody looks at it, what the hell? And this is one of my other favorite pieces. This is a gargoyle by Abrams, which has got the nice. I did this almost all in quill. That's why it has that nice little leathery look. This is the inks of one of the new prints I'm going to have for 2021. It's already been colored and all. It's also an Abrams piece. This is a Vampirella.
Nice.
And let me see what else we got here. That's
by the way, because Lou's here too, and Lou will be at the show, can you show what you just inked for him as well again? I know you showed at the beginning.
Yeah. Oh,
so
man.
Lou Tramontano, who's right here in the chat as Lou T Art, he'll be at the show also, and he's been doing a lot of art lately, and Enrique just inked his piece. So that's him. He'll be at the show too.
Yeah, and let me see. Then I think I sent you. Did I send you this? I think this is the print I sent you for your Stupendous. Was this the one?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, yes, that is. You also sent it to me, I think, as a giveaway print.
Yeah, that was the. Oh, also that's one of the giveaways too. Yeah, I don't know why. This is from an artist called Heiton Rabelo from Brazil. I don't understand why all these women have these great assets.
I always wondered, how do they run and fight without giving themselves black eyes?
I don't know. Okay, this is one that I already know. You told me that it was one of the first prints that was sold. It
was the first print that went.
Yeah.
Yeah, in color, it really popped. That was the first print that went.
I have it around here. I'm going to find it later. I'll see if I can find it. This is one of my earliest works that I did. This is for a gentleman also from Germany. He let me do this for his Kickstarter thing that he was doing for the book. But that's really old. I could look at it now and go, ugh. But it's like, got to improve on that. These are the original inks. Now, anything you see me that I'm showing up in original inks are available in my store if you want them. Or even better, find me at the show and you can actually look at them and you can buy them for yourself. Take them to a lovely home. These are the original inks of the Conan.
Nice versus Predator. Awesome.
And this is one of my favorites. I did this all in quill. And this is the Werewolf by Paul Abrams as well. So
nice.
I'm really happy with that. And I did this the other day. I don't think the light will help it on.
And just to make it clear to everyone, when you ink these artists, they're aware and they collaborated with you.
See, that's got to be careful with that word, collaborated.
Well, they're just so everybody knows, you're not just inking them and selling your stuff. They're in agreement with this. So,
like for example, all these that I'm showing you now, Paul Abrams sent me all that stuff to be done, that I could use it. All the Paul Abrams, the Mikey, all the Vampire, all this stuff, or I've been given permission by any artist to do that. There could be times that I can get something done that they will ask me not to sell. And that is like, for example, the Lobo that I did for Phil. That is his commission. That will not be a print. That will be nothing unless he says, you know what, let's do it, etc. But that is for him. It's his work. He paid for it. Sometimes an artist will ask me, no, I'll give it to you for practice, as that's it. And I have no problem with that. But anything that you see that I'm actually selling has been given the go ahead. You will also see them in my sketchbooks, etc. I also have a certain ones, you can see it on my store, that are like blue line commissions. These are artists with whom I have done an agreement with, that I can use these specific sketches that they have provided with me to sell as an inking commission. Among them is Antonio Choa from Brazil, and James Avila's in there. Ediano Silva is in there. And these are pieces that I can repeat multiple times. Like, for example, I've done this one like 5 times already as a commission. And it's one of my favorites, and I love to do it. I've done it in different sizes and stuff.
I have that.
Yes, you do. And also this one's the one I've done a few times as well, the Red Sonja. So, it's like I went through a phase that I wasn't understanding how all this stuff worked. And of course, somebody really close by, where is this? There we go. There on this side of the, told me, you got to be careful. The wives of some of these artists will come and beat you up. And I really didn't want to have that happen. And so I decided, let's avoid that. But no, it's because it's real simple as an artist, as anybody starting in this, to see something online and assume that it's free for all. It's been posted, I can do whatever I want with it. No, because artists bled, they sat down and to work it, and sometimes they're a commission piece. Like, for example, I have one piece that I inked that was for Barry Kitson. Now, that Barry Kitson one was actually a commission I asked for myself, and he did a much bigger version of it because he was really late. So I got a really good deal. But he gave me the prelim. So from the prelim, I did my own print. But I agreed with him to do that. And that's the only thing I've ever... and he also provided for me in my sketchbook an original sketch, which is not of any character of the Marvel DC universe. It's something he created himself. And he let me ink it and put it in my book. Those are the only things I have from him to do that. But those were agreed upon situations. There's everything you will find out there on my table personally. It's done because I have the permission of somebody else. Phil has always told me, it's like always just do your own drawings and then you have nothing to worry about. Well, we're getting there. Like the back pans or a bunch of other stuff. You're seeing it already in Stupendous and Horrendous. They're mine, and it's working towards that. But as an inker, you're really on top of somebody else's work, and there's not much to do about it. So that's where you find the collaborative factor in all these things. So you just cannot go out there and say, well, I found it on the internet, and therefore I can do whatever I want with it. My daughter she's very aware of these things. She's always telling me about, I see these people doing this and that, it worries me. I said, baby, you want me to mess up with your mind? Somebody somewhere in the world has already taken one of your artwork pictures from Instagram and said it's theirs and put it on there.
Probably.
Give it as a homework.
Dude, I forget the guy's name, but there was a guy that was doing a con circuit for God knows how long, and he was stealing art.
I don't remember the name either, but I know who he is. Yes.
Taking credit, and he finally got caught. And it's like, how do you do that?
And I was finding out how long it took to catch him. He was late. But, there's so much stuff that you see out there, people live boxing things. People like, there's that other artist who I'm not going to name that they say he just copies over other pictures of.
Oh, I think he's right. Rob Granito. Is that the guy?
That's it.
Yeah. That's it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and I think this guy was a sociopath that he started to believe his own lies, because that takes a lot of balls, man, to go to a show knowing that it's not your art, it's everybody else's art, and you're taking. But here's the funny thing: he acted like he was some legend in the industry, and people bought it. They just went up there and treated him. That's
perfect. He was the perfect example of those. You remember those little salesmen that would sell you those little potions, or that would cure you? They're the
snake oil salesman.
Snake oil salesman. Yeah, that's it. And that was perfect. He was like perfect salesman. Like I said, he got people to convince him that he could bring the rain. And hey, and you get accounted for it. Every once in a while, I will look at stuff that I'm doing, I'm going like, am I doing something over somebody else, or is this right or wrong? And you have to just know, once you have permission to do it, it's great, But like, for example, anything I put in my sketchbooks, I ask everybody, and I can tell you there have been artists that have said no. They've said no, and I go like, why not? Because I make money off of my stuff, and that is for me I can't complain about that. Fine,
But you know what's the biggest problem about it? It's not even the fans not realizing a guy like Granito is a fake. The promoters didn't even know. They didn't look into it. When you came to me, what's the first thing I said to you? Do you have permission to be selling this artwork that you're inking over because it wasn't in a published book? You told me yes. I knew the artist that you were, I personally know the artist that you're dealing with.
We can say his name.
And they confirmed, they confirmed it was okay. So, I mean, no disrespect to you, I didn't know you, but as a promoter, I think that's important. I should know if I have art theft going on at my show in my artist alley.
And you see it all the time, man. It's like you go. I don't know who I saw recently that somebody was using their image on a T-shirt, and they just
unlicensed stuff they steal all the time. They stole from Buzz just recently. They've stole from Ken Lashley. Who else did they just steal from recently? I forget. Somebody else.
I got a funny story.
You're right. Yeah, they just want their table fees.
I just remember something. Let me digress for a moment about stealing stuff. There's a funny story. I was at Eternalcon. I'm going to mention it because it happened there. And it's Sunday, and I had moved my table from where I was in the alley because it was just not working. So I moved over to where Paris was supposed to be, and he wasn't there. So I took over next to Keith. So I was like, hey, the universe is once again the way it's supposed to be.
It's an alignment.
It's an alignment. It was myself, Keith, and then Larry.
We should nickname you two the In-Betweeners. The character in between.
But so we're all three over here. So at one moment they went off to lunch. All right, they go off to lunch. They went to the green room, and I wasn't invited because I'm not part of the green room, unless you had a Phil show, and then you are invited to the green room.
Everyone's invited in my green room.
Everyone's invited.
You can sit next to Adam Kubert and have lunch.
Yeah, of course you'll look at me funny and say, "What the hell are you?" And okay, I'll move over. So, so it's like actually you wouldn't do that. He would just say nothing to me. And,
Adam Kubert's a nice guy.
Yeah, he is. And had it been somebody else, we're not going to mention it. It would be different. So it's like, so we're at here, and they leave for lunch, and then when they come back, I'm seeing there's Keys and Tammy and Ruckus, and Larry was saying something, and I'm going, what the hell's going on? So I go over to there, I say, Larry, what's going on? He goes like, dude, somebody just stole the She Warrior cover I was working on. I said, what? Yeah, man, they just stole it from on top of here, took it away. And what happened? And Keith, Keith's books, they're like, somebody stole some of his books. But Larry being Larry, notices that I start looking at my table, and he's looking at, wait a minute, you think they stole from you? Said, hey man, you never know. They make me desperate. They make me say, I don't know, let's grab something from everybody. It's an equal opportunity steal. And you know what? I actually think they stole a sketchbook. But I'm not sure yet. I can't confirm or deny that happening. But I just find it funny that this big guy, Larry looks at me like, what are you looking at? But actually he did. And the problem was he was doing a commission and he was almost done. He had to restart it. So for me, that was on the promoters, I think, to some degree, because they should have had somebody around there. Because
that's a hard thing, and I'll tell you why.
I will tell Keith, look, Keith, watch this, do this and that, and we can do that. But we all left at the same time to do something. I went to find my lunch, and they went to the green room, so it just happened. So,
I mean, it's hard to put that all on the promoter, but I will say this. I remember Scott Williams and Alex Sinclair, they said, wow, you have people come around quite often. I mean, I have people come around every 2 minutes if they need water, if they need anything. And I told them after the show, I said, you have to understand, that's not just about offering you hospitality. My people are watching your tables that you don't get anything stolen. When there's large crowds or your head is down doing a commission, you can pull a print right off a table. And I proved it because Keith didn't listen to me. And at East Coast Comic Con. I walked right up to Keith's table. His head was down drawing. I took a piece of art off the table, walked away. Now, the woman next to him was like, what the hell? And she was going to say something. I said, I'm just trying to prove a point. He knows me. So I go back. I go, Keith, did you lose this? And, Keith is a nice guy. He smiles and he laughs. I'm like, dude, I just swiped this. And it's an original piece. I just swiped it. So my people go around the show constantly, not just for hospitality reasons, because we're watching your tables. We're making sure nobody steals anything.
Well,
that's why they go around that often.
In my case, there's not many people around the table, so I got nothing to worry about. No, actually, there have been a few shows that have actually been packed in. I'm worried about.
You do well at every one of my shows.
I do well in every show, man. Only the ones I don't do well is because the promoter didn't do his job. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the excuse, sure.
No, I mean, hey, I'll say everything as it is. Now,
Dante's right, though. Big shows, it is harder. Thanks for the backslap to my little show. I'm kidding.
What? No.
No, Dante makes a good point. This is why I was saying to you before. It's hard to put it all on the promoter. I was just saying what I do. But he said for big show, it's hard because finding people willing to spend a weekend working as con staff is like trying to herd cats. It's true. Just for my small show, people act like they're interested, and then when you tell them what you ask them to do, they go, never mind. It's like, well, what did you think you were going to do? Shop? That's what I have staff for, so you can shop?
Yeah.
So they're not even serious.
Now I lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that's Alzheimer's and the old age.
What was I thinking about, right? I'll come back again. Damn it. I'm getting old. No, I really lost it.
You lost it a long time ago.
So anyway, one of the things I can say about Phil is that whenever I need a good yanking of the back into reality, I just call him. He'll just put me in his place. Say, stop whining, you little.
I'm a straight up honest guy. You come to me, I'm going to tell you.
Put me back in his place. Man, I don't get what's going on. Stop your whining.
That's not what I say, but I am honest with you. I am blunt.
So yeah, but anyway.
Look, the greatest respect I can give you is truth. That's it. Nobody gets better. Nobody improves, myself included, if you're being placated. It's like that kid who doesn't sing well, but everybody told them how great they sing their whole life, and they never got better because they always thought they were great. The second you think that you know it all, you know nothing.
Well, that's why I've been telling you all my life that one of the things you got to understand, if anybody knows me well, I'm always part of the thing I'm putting myself down, it's not to do like, pity me and stuff. I don't do that. But my idea is that, and I've told this to Phil, if I ever start believing my own hype, I'm going to be the biggest a-hole.
I'll knock your chip off your shoulder. Don't worry.
He takes care of that. So he takes care of that anyway. No, I was just remember what I was going to say about when you're talking about somebody swiping you did the swiping thing from Keith. I mean, right now, the way I'm doing my setups that I'm going to be doing in the future, I'm going to have some of my original artworks and stuff in front. I'm worried, will somebody put a few things in their own place? So I got to find a way to be more careful with it. But I've heard stories of Eric Larson. He's had stuff taken, and I remember once in New York last year, I actually told Eric, you do know having your original ink pieces up in front, you're asking for trouble. I mean, if you don't value them, that's one thing. But if you value it, I believe last year somebody came back to ask him to sign the cover on one of his Savage Dragons. He goes but I never sell that. And he was like, well, yes, you did. He goes and there was no way for him to really. Well, he thinks that somebody else, the guy bought it from a third party who actually stole it. But the point is that if you have to actually put yourself in the position to avoid that from happening. And the other thing I remember now I was going to say, that you said it's not the promoters that need to do the work. That's why for your show, and this is what I was going to say, you can actually vouch for this. I promoted the heck every time I go to one of your shows.
Yes, you do.
And
yes.
Because I am in the firm believer is that if I don't do my own part to get people to come in, I cannot complain when there's nobody. Now, yes, the promoter has to do his own job. But if I put the word out and put my little grain of sand to say, look, I'm going to be at this show and put it through my followers on my Instagram, on my Facebook. Maybe people won't come for me only. They'll say, wait, when Quique is there, isn't Keith next to him anyway? I like to go, let's go see Keith. Screw it, Greek. Let's go see Keith. But at least they'll come to see Keith. But then I want to get the word out. Because the more people that come for me or for anybody else, they got to go by my table, at one point of the show. So as more people show up, more are the opportunities for each and every one of us to do what we want to do, to promote ourselves, to sell something and stuff.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, it's my job as a promoter to promote. I agree. I'm the one investing the money into marketing. I agree. But when artists and vendors sit there and say, well, it's your job, not mine, I say, you're right. It's my job to promote the show. But isn't it your job to promote your own brand, your own business? I mean, isn't it?
Yeah,
you're one in a seat. Like my last show, I had 82 artists, right? Mm-hmm. And some, no disrespect to anybody, were really well known, right? Adam Kubert, Jim Steranko, etc.
I had Barry Kitson behind me.
So my point is, if I'm an up-and-coming guy, yes, the promoter's got to do his job, and I think I'm pretty good at giving fair promotion to everybody, but I would want to promote myself as hard as possible so I'm there too, right? I mean, isn't that the point for you individually?
I still remember that I teased you about this, and I made fun of these kids that were sending out flyers in front of New York Comic Con of your show, and they were starting handing them to me. I said, really? You should know I'm in the show. Slow. But look, you're talking to a guy who has an MBA in marketing, okay, and marketing research, in fact. So I believe in this stuff. Now, one of the things I do, all right, and kiddies, if you're out there listening, this is my scientific formula. Don't steal it. But anyway, you can't. Okay. This is what I do. Very few promoters will provide me with the info, but so I have to look for it and get it. So I'll ask you. I'll say like, okay, Phil, what's your average daily attendance to your show? And you'll say 2,000, which is reasonable. I'll say, okay, 2,000. I would take that number. Out of that number, I'll take 10%. It's meaning that I should expect 200 people to pass my table. Out of that, I will then take 10% of those will buy something from me. And therefore, I'll say out of 10,000, that'll be 20. If my average sale is $10, that means it's $200. And if the table costs me $300, I don't do the show. So if that's one way I do it. Or if it's that way, and I really want to be in the show, what do I have to do? I got to make sure more people come in. So and then I promote. So I make sure that the number goes up for me. So that's the way I do it. So I analyze it that way to see if I'm going to have a cost benefit. Because I have to pay for my table. And I tell my daughter, look, you got to understand the advantage I have when you come with me to the shows, when she was doing it with me. I'm paying your table. You're being part of my table. Imagine you, on top of paying your rent, car, food, light, everything, you got to pay for a table. You got to make sure that table is covered, because what you make on this week is going to pay the table for next week. So you're constantly doing that rollover. And
sure. Well, it's like any other business.
Why would you, as an artist, not try to put as much in effort to making sure that more people show up?
Right.
Because if you're in the idea they're saying, well, if they come here, they're not going to buy from me, then you're in the wrong business. Please, just don't do it anymore. You cannot think about, well, if more people come in, that means maybe they won't. That means more people will go to the other artists. Look, there are shows that are geared that will work that way. But I can give an example. There's a big show here, East Coast Comic Con. Everybody knows it's in the New Jersey area. If you've done it, you know it's a big show. I was in the line this year, and I did it with my daughter as well. So we're dividing a table, though I did only give her 2 other 6 feet. she was pissed. Hey, baby, when you pay $350, you can have the rest of the table. All right, so she had to sit in the little section. So, and now I was next to R.C. Young, who's going to be on my show real soon, and Sebastian Bonet, who was already on my show. And we were like in the line. Then when you walk down, you would see the big guys who were like, you had Uko Smith, Keith Williams,
Scott Hanna was down there.
Now, who was the other one down there? It was not Bob Alman. Not McLeod either. It's another inker. Right now I'm forgetting his name. So he was down there, and then we had George Perez and Ron Lim and Jim Stalling in the corner. So we're in that line. So we were either getting people going up or people coming down. But I still promoted the heck out of it, and I still had to move and make sure that people were paying attention. I was outside Artist Alley. I made my table and plus, but I know people a little further down that didn't do their well, and I'm going like, you didn't promote, did you? You weren't aggressive enough with you and stuff. Sometimes location will help you. Sometimes things will just fall away. I've had great locations at shows that were horrible for me. They just didn't work. It just wasn't the right fit that weekend.
Well, that's another thing I do too, though. Take George Vega, for example. George is an excellent artist. He's done some stuff, but he's trying to get up there. He's trying to really make his way in DC, Marvel, etc. But he likes Mike Hawthorne, which who doesn't? So I sat him next to Mike Hawthorne, and now they're cool with each other. Mike, is always liking George's posts, and they talk to each other, and they made a connection. And that's why I mix everybody in. I don't put the quote-unquote unpublished or quote-unquote no names down here away from the quote-unquote big guys. Everybody's mixed in because you get exposure. Yeah, I know. You get exposure. Maybe you make connections. Look, for all I know, Mike Hawthorne is not making a deadline, and he calls up George and says, George, I need you to do my backgrounds. Right? You never know.
No,
and if I had a small part in that, I would be like, I feel so good that I was able to help in that way. You know what I mean?
It's like, I honestly
Tom Tayson.
I don't remember who was the artist in the first show. Because you put me next to a colorist, I really don't remember who he was. I know who was on this side.
I'm not going into that individual.
I'm never forgetting who was on this side. But the thing
I'm not speaking of that person.
In front of me was James Avila, so I met him there.
Yeah.
Then at other shows, you can get lucky, and sometimes you get unlucky depending on, because I've had shows that I remember the people who were next to me or in front of me and stuff. They were actually really nice. I remember there was one show that somebody texted me saying, "Can I switch with you?" But I already had done my promotions, telling people this is where I am. So he said, "But I think you're already promoted." I said, "No, I can't. I already got people coming to me." I pretty much could have switched because that show was horrible. But the problem is that it was a Mother's Day weekend, and so that's one of the things I learned. Check the holidays, people. You don't want to be near those holidays. Anyway, but what happened was, because there was nothing going on as much, I had a whole time I spent there, and I met Jim O'Reilly. And Jim O'Reilly did that Scarecrow, which is a little mini print I have now. And we're like nice friends. We talk to each other and stuff.
He just did a gambit for me as a gift for having him on my show.
I saw that. I saw that.
It's beautiful. And then Greg Harms inked it, and then Sigmund's going to color it.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God. And they're giving me all three versions. I got the ink version. It's just, they were so nice. I was so kind of them.
Yeah, but don't expect anything from me, man. I already given you.
Yeah. I already got my Diddums and Snowdrop.
The point is that most of the time when I'm next to somebody, the thing is that, honestly, I get put next to Keith in almost all the shows. So it's like I already know the guy here next to me. And I like to walk around early in the morning. I'm really one of the earliest people to get there. Try to see who's around and make connections, because at the end of the day, that's all it is. Like right now, I have a good relationship and business relationship with Sean MacArthur, who runs the District-Con, but he's got his own studio stuff he's doing. And I met him how? Because I was stalking Keith. I said, "What the hell is this District-Con? I've never heard of this thing. What is this thing?" And Keith, you know how Keith is. I don't know. I was invited. So, okay, so I guess I got to find that out. And I talked to Sean and says, "What's going on?" "Oh man, I know. I got the show. It's only this amount." I say, "Fine. How about if I bring my daughter? Can I bring her today? How much for her table?" Says, "Well, if you do an inking workshop, we'll be cool." I go, I'll do an inking. We're okay. Let's do it. So I met him there, and it's like right now. I imagine when next time we meet, we'll have to be like how you doing? You know, but he was always like one of the coolest guys we meet. Is a big hug and stuff. He and his wife are absolutely fantastic people, and I met them at these cons, you know. And there's some, like for example, I can tell you one that I was not really great for me. I don't remember who were next to me at that. Some of them, you know, because there was just no interaction. There was not a lot of fun.
Right.
They were all everybody was all on their own thing, or it wasn't really. There was this. I remember this one that was over in New York area that I spent. Let's put it this way: I spent almost 3 hours in conversation with Bob Alman and Joe Sinat, and my daughter never called me to say, "Come to the table."
Oh wow.
Okay, so never.
She probably didn't even know.
No, but it was like, yeah, she was like, "You left me alone." You know that? You know, was there anybody here? No. Well, there you go. So there you go. But then
well, you need to be teaching her comic book history. That's on you, pal.
Yeah, I know. And
She would have known.
But like one of the worst shows I've ever been at. Absolutely one of the worst shows because I almost ate moldy bread because of the. I told you that story already, and the moldy bread story. But guess what? Because the show was so bad, there was nobody there. Who I meet? I met Robbie Bryant, who's now working with me. He did a sketch of Harley Quinn that I inked live there, and now we're working together on 2 projects. I met Chris Williams, who's I can't ink for him because he already got a superstar. He told me I have to kill somebody to do it. But I inked already the Power Girl, which is going to be a print now. I met Sarah Madura, Sid Blue was also at that show. Jack was
Sid. Oh my God, Sid killed. I mean, Sarah did too. Sarah did a great Warbird for me, and I really love it. I just showed it to somebody today. And Sid has done a few pieces of art for me, and she just freaking knocks it out of the park every time. She's an awesome artist and a really nice person. Sarah's a really nice person too, and an excellent artist.
Yeah, I'm seeing this conversation between Dante and George.
Yeah.
A little mambo to the land.
Dante was just recently here at my house, and my family likes him a lot. He's a nice guy, and he's funny.
But,
and you know, as dirty and raunchy as he can be, he knows how to be appropriate in front of my family, though. So good job, Dante.
His parents taught him well, I guess. So
no, he's good. Dante's good people. He'll give you the shirt off his back.
And now I'm going to plug in a little something here. On Inking with Quique on Mondays on Instagram, which hopefully will move over to StreamYard next year, because the shows are getting even bigger and bigger, hopefully, down the line. And I got to thank Tevin Gomez, who was my guest last night, who actually announced today that he has created a new identity for himself as to his branding. I believe is calling himself the White Wolf Comics. Beautiful logo. I love it. We had over 50 different viewers come into the show last week. Yesterday. So I was really happy with that. A lot of repeat viewers. In the coming and next Monday, I have Jake Taylor, who's a local artist in the New Jersey area as well. But in November, I'm really happy to, and I've already announced this somewhere. I'm going to put up real soon. The schedule is all the artists for November are female artists. It's really hard. Phil knows it's really hard to get female artists on our shows for whatever reason.
Yeah, people sit there and they say, "How come you don't have more females?" They keep saying no. What do you want from me? Women don't. I don't know. Maybe they're shy, insecure. I don't know. But
I know
women do not do these shows. They don't like to. I mean, I had a few women, but they don't, and they don't even like to do physical cons. I get turned down by the women all the time. You'd think I was back in high school again.
And for whole of November, I'm going to have, and the cool thing about November is got 5 Mondays. So I'm starting off with Kayla Leanne. If you look at her Instagram, she's doing a lot of live ink drawings, and now she does a lot together with my buddy Derek Pashon, Derek 84. After her, we got her. Then I got RC Young, who's a writer and illustrator. RC Young. Then I bring in Sid Blue. She'll be with me there. Lula Lucas, who's also has been on this show. And I'll end
Sid
it.
will be here too.
And I'm going to end it with Sammy Castillo of Castillo Studios. So and who I met through Imbion Comic Con. That other. What happened? What do you? That is a wrong stereotypical actor. You gotta stop with this. It's like calling an ink or a tracer. Let's stop with this.
Oh man, the only two people in my chat that would say something like this are Dante or Chris Mahad.
Chris probably went to bed. He's not around.
No, Chris probably has this on in the background while he's doing work right now.
Yeah, probably doing what he needs to do for that thing. So so I'm really, really humbled that they joined me for this November, and it's going to be awesome.
Just don't be you, and everything will go fine.
I'll just probably bring my daughter in. And it's a funny thing. I've asked my daughter to do the show, and she refuses to. She won't do it. She goes like, no. I don't think the world can handle the two of us.
Lulu already did an exclusive Vampirella cover. She's got a second one coming.
Yep, there's another. Jury announced it today, but she's got. I think it's Red Sonja actually.
Yeah.
She's got something coming up. Yeah, but so yeah, and Lula's actually one of the funny stories with Lula is that when I met her at your second show, and I asked her, could you do something for me to ink later? And she did this nice, cool little Batgirl. And when she handed it to me, she didn't realize that she had handed in with a sketch she was making for Phil's wife, Belle.
Oh, yep.
And then I find it, I go like, and it actually had that and other begin sketches that were actually started. And I said, Lula, this is in here as well. Oh my God, that's Phil's stuff. I go like, all right, so I'll be seeing
Phil. She did a gift and she made a mistake. Yeah, she left it with you.
And I don't remember how I got it back to you later, but I looked at it, so I rescanned it and I actually inked it. So I gave him.
Yeah, we have it.
You have both versions, the pencil version and my ink version. Mm-hmm. Which I would probably do better nowadays than what I did then, but it's like...
No, it came out great.
It looked really good, and I was really
By the way, Royal postponed it. It's been postponed, Dante. Lula had a signing at Royal Collectibles. It's been postponed.
Oh, okay. But, so yeah, it's like, so what I'm a little train of thought again, so what were we talking about now? Go back to your questions.
We should wrap it up, though. It's been 2 hours and 42 minutes. This is the longest show yet.
How many people watching this thing?
I don't know. We've had anywhere. We just had 12 people in a room a minute ago. Now we're down to 9, but I don't know how many have been in and out. I'll find out after, and I'll let you know. But what I will tell you, what I will ask you is the question I leave everybody with. If you could go back to your younger self when you were starting out, like, you mentioned over in the 90s, you had really tried and everything. What advice would you give yourself?
It's funny that when I read that question, I was going to be a smart ass about it. But that's only 3 years ago, man. It's not much I can say to myself.
It's not 3 years ago, though, because you said that you started this back in the late 80s, early 90s, and you went on a hiatus. Now, what advice would you give to yourself back then based on the course you've taken and starting again later in life?
I would have
an old bastard,
told myself that to believe in myself more, and that despite the obstacles that were going on of making it into the industry, that thing, had I done my due diligence, had I waited a few more, maybe another year or two, or keep adding it, I could have been in there when Valiant came out. I could have been available when Malibu came out, and all the boom started. So had I honed my act a little more over those years of hiatus, I could have been in the industry a lot earlier, probably. So maybe that's a lesson learned to not lose it. But at the end of the day, I don't remember who told me this once, and maybe, who knows, it might have been you during one of our psychotic sessions. That part of the problem of putting my like the question when people ask like, where do you see yourselves in 5 years and 10 years? That when you do that, you're saying, wow, it's been 5 years. I'm not where I'm supposed to. And But if you sit back, and I can do this for myself, like I'm saying, this year was supposed to be my year. I was supposed to be out everywhere. I was going to be all over the United States. I was going to be doing so much stuff. Yes, that didn't happen. But now that I stop and look at what I've done, I have been published twice in the same year. I'm moving on to an anthology for next year. I've improved my inking. I've improved my work. I've increased my fan base. A lot more friends I've gotten in just 1 year. I've been able to do this. So over those 3 years, I was somebody who was just being a fanboy, and now I can walk into any artist alley and any show, and people will say, "I know you. I know who you are. How you doing? I've been missing you." I mean, when you can walk in somewhere, I can get Larry Hammond to say, "Hey, you doing, buddy?" Go, really? And stuff like that. It's freaking awesome. I mean, anytime I see I hear the ping and I see it's Larry Stroman saying, "Hey, how you doing?" I go like, "Man, it's Larry Stroman just sent me a text." This is insane for me to think about that. And so at my age of 55, just a few weeks ago, I would never have thought that if I could have told my that 25-year-old, 26-year-old, it'll take you 30 years where you'll get there. I would never even believe this. And it's too long. But it is what it is. I needed to go through everything I needed to do to get to this point. I needed to go through my ups and downs and find the perfect partner, because I know Phil is if you know Phil's wife, if you met her, you know that she traded down. But anyway.
You know what? I did marry up, and I'm fine with that.
See, I'm in the same
She's
boat.
hot. She's smart. She's artistic. She's beautiful. She's funny. She's sweet. She's my best friend.
See, that's another case of a person who won't accept how good they are. I inked the exclusive print for the third show off of her pencils, and she was like, no, I don't want to sell it because I don't want people to look. It's great work. It's good work.
She doesn't think so.
Elite level? No. But is it good, solid looking of anatomical character stuff? Yes.
Dude, she just drew a Thanos and a Silver Surfer last Christmas for my best friend, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I saw it.
And she just doesn't. But you know what? It's like anybody. If you don't believe in yourself, nothing I say is going to change that. You may know that I feel that way, but you still don't feel that way. So, Phil hit the wife lotto. You're damn right I did. And you know what? I'm smart enough to know I did.
The Powerball level, he went
people. I'm telling you now, we would meet people, and they would literally, for the first time meeting them, go, "You're with him, I don't get it." And or they would say,
"You know, that's what I used to. I raised my show. This is why, baby."
Yeah. No. Well, the best is they'll go, "How did you get such a beautiful woman?" And I just go, "Duct tape and chloroform," and I turn around and walk away.
That's right.
And their head tilts, all confused. Huh? Now my wife used to get upset. She goes, "Why doesn't that bother you?" I go, "'Cause I win. I go home with you. They just want what I have. Why am I? I'm on top, and they wish I was where I am. So why would I be upset with what they think? I don't give a shit. The fact that they don't understand why she's with me is why they don't have it. I'm good. I go home. I'm happy. Your opinion to me is none of my damn business."
Honestly, like I was saying before, like getting to the point where I am today, is that if I didn't have the support of her, my wife, Joanna, it'd be impossible for me to do this, because one of the first things she's always told me that as long as I'm happy doing it, she's got no issues. I mean, also the fact that I'm not in the house much is probably an incentive. So she's like, "Yeah, okay. You got another convention this weekend?" Oh, which is like I was telling my daughter today, and like when we're going out to the art store today to get some supplies, and I was saying, you know what, right? What? In 2 days, I would have been in the car driving to Washington, D.C. It would have been, this is Baltimore Con weekend. Like, really? Yeah. I would have been driving up there Thursday, getting there, setting up for the Friday show. But we're doing it virtual. So it's like, but that's what it is, man. It's like what it is. And so I'm really, really lucky to have a great supporting family. A daughter who understands it, hates my guts at times, So But then again, that's how kids are, and you'll learn about that, buddy. Trust me. Right now, you're their daddy's girl. In a few years, you're gonna say, "Who is this guy?" You don't get me. it's like,
Look, I say this all the time. I have to be the man that my daughters deserve someday because daughters always marry a man like the father. And if the father is an asshole, then he's going to deal with an asshole as a son-in-law. How I treat their mother is what they think a man should treat them, how a man should treat them. So I better damn well treat their mother right if I expect a man to treat them right. And
right.
I will. And, I am a peaceful man, but Dante and other people probably. Lou knows. You come at if you do anything to hurt my kids or my wife. This is my motto, and I mean this. And you hear this. I would rather watch my daughters live a well-adjusted life I'd rather watch it from behind bars than watch them grow up all screwed up from across the table. And yeah. I cannot say that with any more conviction. I would sacrifice whatever I have to make sure those kids have a good life. And God help anybody that comes after them. And yes, I am her oldest kid, Dante. You're absolutely right. She introduces me as her oldest child. And she won't be wrong. Look, just tonight, we were sitting at the table.
My wife, would tell me that I'm very similar to her father and that we both have very high opinions and stuff like that. Not that anybody would have noticed that I have that. And then I'm looking at her, and she's very similar to my mom in the sense of a very firm, educated woman who doesn't take any crap, man. She's absolutely, and she won't take crap from me. She won't take crap from anybody. And she's the kindest person. She will give you the shirt off her back, or in this case, a blouse. And but you mess with her in the wrong way, she will let you have it. I mean, I know when I've crossed the line when a certain decibel level gets in the house, I go, ooh, we crossed the Joanna line. We don't want to go over that one. So it's 38th parallel. No, that's the Joanna line. You don't want to go there. So it's like I'm thinking back. My daughter, my oldest, has already gotten married, and I'm looking at the guy, and he's nothing like me though. He does play video games. So he's got that. He is a golfer like I am, but he is about a foot shorter than I always make fun of that, and he takes it in stride. He's a great kid. He treats her well in the sense that she says, "This is what you're gonna do." He goes, "Okay, all right, give it out there, baby," and not a problem. So overall, she's happy. So I'm glad for that. But every once in a while, we was walking around. I go, you need to get up, man. Get off of the chair. He says, I'm standing. I know. Because I'm so tall, but he's really one of the short people. I'm really funny. And he beats me in golf, so I let him. He has the last laugh, so that's not a problem. But yeah, so we're both lucky bums, man. Lucky bums. So
Lou always says Steph is much stronger, way more beautiful than Phil. She's definitely way more beautiful than me, and she may not be stronger than me, but my God, my wife is stronger than you realize. We would joke around and wrestle. I'm like, whoa, this woman, she's strong. Jeez. My wife, she's very strong. The problem is, she's very unassuming. It's not a problem, actually. One of her charms is that she has an elegance that you don't see very often anymore. The way she carries herself, the way she speaks. And Dante, you know what I'm talking about, right? Everybody that meets my wife and has the opportunity to sit in the living room and just have a chat with her sees the elegance and the class and just the way about my wife that is just an old-fashioned, beautiful, wonderful thing. And it just exudes off her. So she has a long fuse, but when her fuse goes off, you better get that. You better move.
I just noticed something now. I've never actually. I don't think we actually ever met her.
No, you haven't. Because when she's doing the show, she's at the front desk and you're busy, and then you're out. I know.
Yeah. I've never.
Now is that what we'd call an oxymoron? She's cool as hell.
Yeah, because I remember. Yeah, Well, usually I'm the first one out because the shows are not going well. I'm usually like dying.
Oh,
to
you're
get
so
out.
full of shit. You do well at my shows. Cut it out.
No, I don't. Look, I was going to say something that you're saying. You're usually I'm out quickly, yeah, because usually it shows that once they're like, oh, they're not that good, I'm leaving. Look at that. Chris says he's never met her either.
No, I told you Chris was still there. We're in the background while he's doing work. He's been busy. He's got deadlines.
And the only show that I found it funny, you know, and it was your third show, which I know you had 101 different troubles that day.
You have no idea.
No, I do have that idea, and you already told me a few times during our psychotic sessions. So, and the thing is that I found it funny that Keith came over. He goes like, "Bro, I cannot remember a day I've left after you. I can't believe you're still not ready to leave us." Because I had a great day and I had a good day. I was so having trouble packing everything up, and, you know, and it was like getting everything because I was selling them to the very last second. It was a good show for me. So it was one of those, yeah. And I remember I was trying to say goodbye to you. You were like, okay, whatever, man. We're out of here.
It was. Hey, Steve is here. My buddy Steve. You will meet her, buddy. Yeah, it was a rough day. We had an individual, a vendor, fall. I just saw the video, and you know, there's litigation. So, and there were other things going on. So it was a day to forget, sadly, but bigger and better.
Yeah, it's like
Life's about taking punches. I have a strong jaw.
Yeah, but you got no shoulders, therefore, you little Russian doll.
Yeah. I was like, where did that come from? It came out of nowhere. It didn't even like pertain to what we were talking about.
I know. Had you been talking about like the Black Widow, you know, like that? Hey, you know, you remind me of that. You know, you could go a segue. That could have been a segue. But I remember I was watching the show. I was like, what was that?
It just, yeah, and it was like, I don't know him well. I mean, I know him, but I don't know him well for that kind of deprecating humor.
Me well, you know, you can just
like I have like it doesn't bother me because I don't care, you know, but I did think it was odd, and for someone you don't know well to just throw a deprecating backhanded like joke, it seemed weird, you know. It was just odd. Maybe just an attempt to break ice that, you know, maybe went the wrong way or something. But like I said, it didn't offend me or embarrass me or upset me. It just kind of was weird.
Dante asked me a while ago, what are these things here? They're for show or what? Actually, my rock band is back there, so I'm going to play later on.
It's because I'm a drummer and he's always got to be in competition. He's got to try to tell me he can play drums better than me.
No, I never say that. You might be a better drummer than me. But then again, I haven't played in years. And I haven't even played in years.
Well, so come over. I got my kids set downstairs. Let's go.
So anyway, if people want to follow me, that's the place to do it. If you want to buy stuff, it's coming up in a little while. I'm over there on the portfolio.
artbyquique.storenvy.com, and then his portfolio.
If anybody's interested,
hey, Ralph's here.
The Horrendous, you could do that. Check it out over there. Go do that, please. Whose daughter is it?
By the way, Chris Mad's a drummer too, you know, and he's asking what sticks to use. I like ProMark 5As.
These are which are these? These are Firth ones. I used to use the ProMarks as well, but
yeah, Vic Firth. I'll use Vic Firth, but I like ProMark better.
Yeah, I just like these for when I'm doing them here in the house. You know, like the little tip the way it is here, a little more rounded. That's why I like these. The other ones that break really easy. Because I slammed these things.
Funny, I still have my first pair of ProMark, my first pair of sticks since I was 6 years old. ProMarks, they're chopped up to shit, but I still have them.
Well, I feel them. I've splintered so many, it's not even funny anymore. So
Lula's here. We were talking about you earlier. What's going on, Lula? Raphael is here. See, I told you, we're here 3 hours, and every time we're about to wrap up, that's when everybody starts to pop up. I told you that.
Hey, wait a minute. Where's Keith, man? Keith didn't even show up to the show.
I know, right? He probably forgot. He said he wanted to come watch. He forgot.
No. Hey, Keith is having a little issue in his home, and it's not.
Oh, I know. We spoke about it, and
badass situation, and it's got nothing to do with the family, man. It's just
No. And Larry didn't show up either. I was with Larry on Sunday.
yeah, we're doing well, Lula. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. And Lula, I was just mentioning you're going to be on my show next month. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You can't back out now. It's good. I already mentioned it. You're there in the show.
Yeah, you would think you were on the show. We were talking about your variant cover, your second cover. You know, the Royal Collectibles. Appearance you're going to make. I know it was postponed, but you should threaten to wrap up early, and then poof, they will be. Yeah, Raphael. 15 minutes in, I'm going to threaten to wrap up early. Watch the numbers.
How you doing, buddy?
Dude, everybody just showed up at 3 hours in. It's freaking 1 in the morning.
Listen, I'll be on the Bitten Apple as well on the 14th of November. Okay, so I am all over the place. I am the show whore of this community. I will be everywhere, everything, all the time.
Up.
And it's only on OnlyFans. Check it out. Hey man,
you should have been like a sportscaster with your voice and talking. What?
It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I think we can go out there now. I think by the time the people are
But
watching,
now everybody showed up. Now everybody we know and like is showing up.
Now, because I think now
We didn't like the people before. We didn't like Heather and Lou and no, I'm kidding. Of course we do. We love all of you. No, in all seriousness, you know what's great? As much as I get, the Eric Larsons and Rubensteins and Hannahs of the show, and I love to talk to them. All the local artists and writers and creators that I have become friends with, that are just really good people. I love having them in the chat. They talk with us. It's like a get together, It's like we all sat down. It's like the end of Avengers where they went to that. What was Dante will probably have the answer. What was the place that they went to and they were eating after the credits? Shawarma or something like that. Whatever that place was. But anyway, it's like we're all just sitting down having food at some local diner every time I come on, and everybody's in the chat room, and I love that. And we've got
I've never had dinner with you, though. No.
And then there were people that I've never met that have become regulars, like John. I don't know if it's Ottinger or Ottinger, but John, he's been a faithful watcher and everything, and I really appreciate that. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing his name right. I hope to meet him someday. And all the regulars and everything. Shawarma, thank you, Shawarma. And I knew Dante would have the answer, and Steve did too. I mean, I met Steve through doing all this, and Raphael I met through all this stuff, and Dante, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Like every once in a while I'll meet up with people and learn. And on the show, I mean, Heather herself is like, follow me, and I know we're what?
Lula wants diner food now.
Man, don't even go there, because my wife hates that every time I go like, whoa, there's a diner we haven't tried. It's like, no, she hates going to diners. I love it. I love doing diners, man. And in New Jersey, the capital of diners. So I'm like always having fun with that.
All right, let's go. Let's continue this party. Let's all go to we'll meet up at diner right now.
No.
Let's go.
Are there some? Yeah, there's some should be. I mean, it's a bit cold outside.
Yeah, Heather, you're learning a lot from this show. You're learning what not to do. Dante's Dante's a mess.
Oh my God! Just an hour. I'm telling you. So for those who just came in, remember that my Stupendous book is available for sale.
No, we're gonna do that. Listen, honestly, Enrique's got Stupendous out right now. Anthology book.
I don't want to see more. That's the name of the book.
It's got a lot going on in it, including a short story, a written short story, and a short sequentially told story that you should check out. And he's got all those great art prints, including the canvas. Again, looking on the bottom, you got his portfolio site there, but you also have a store, artbyquique.storenvy.com. You can buy his stuff. Inking with Quique every Monday night at 8 p.m. on Instagram. But this Thursday, the day after tomorrow, if Paris Cullins shows up, he has Paris Cullins on the show.
And that one will be on my Facebook page of Art by Quique. It will not be on Instagram. The reason being that I'm hoping that it'll go over an hour, and we'll have a lot of stuff to talk. And like I said, Paris is working with me on a project that we're doing for the anthology, so we might talk a little bit about that. Can't give up too much of the spoilers, but we're going to go into how I met him and how he's inspired me to get into all this stuff as well. So it's a good story, and I love the way he broke into the industry, man. It's a great story. If you've never heard him say it, tell a story. Hopefully, you will be able to go into it. It is one of those stories that you go like, yeah, I got to do that. This one, you just don't give up, and it's great. So,
by the way, there are people on this chat that have been here for the whole 3 hours. God bless them.
Because I was messing with Phil. I was telling him, dude, I'm cutting it off short if there's nobody here. I'm not going to be embarrassed.
Yeah, I told you you'd be fine. By the way, Lou, I do a Jam Piece episode almost weekly. I've done 5 already. You're behind the 8 ball, my friend. For someone who posts 1,000 times a day, you sure don't see other posts.
I want to show something real quick before we leave. Because this is my grandmother passed away, I think right now we're coming up on 4 or 5 years now. And when my mom was going through her things, she found this thing. It says here, it's in Spanish, all right? But it says here, for my Abuela Mary, which is Grandmother Mary, from your grandson, Enrique. And this is one of the first, this is a piece I did in 1989 that I did for her, where she was and it's got this film, because I protected it, and it's still as penciled in 89 because it's behind the film. And it's basically, she loved to travel, so I did the
Washington Monument and the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah, because she was also an immigrant, and those are 2 big symbols for her. So, and it was funny that when you see it, you can't appreciate it through here. It looks just like I did it in '89 because it's got this film that I put on. The film is a little yellowish on some areas, but you can tell all the details I put in there. And it's one of those things. A grandmother never throws anything out, and it was still there after all those decades. Still had it there, man. It was like,
that's
wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's a nice little thing to end on, I guess. And a little emotional tug your strings. You go, hey, you know what? He's not such a dick after all. So.
You said you're going to be on the Bit and Apple. I was on the Bit and Apple. They were very kind to have me on last Saturday, and I enjoyed it, actually. I've been offered to be interviewed a few times, and unfortunately, it usually winds up I'm doing the interview. I've never really interviewed, and Raphael and Leslie Fry were very kind. They let me do a lot of talking. It was about me in the show, which sometimes it's cool, but I don't usually want it to be about me. But they were really, really nice, and you're gonna have a good time on their show. They're great. They have a great show. They're great hosts. It's the Bit and Apple, Rafael Tavares Jr. and Leslie Fry. 2 great people. So I just wanted to give them a shout out, the Bit and Apple. Go check it out. They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook. And probably 50 other places that I don't know because I don't do social media very well. So I'm sorry, Rafael. Put it in the chat if you want any links. And Rafael does the written writ. He's a writer. So check that out.
Yeah, I'm sorry I interrupted you there. Yeah, but I remember when I had you on my show, it was one of those moments that I had to bring the level down a little bit because you are a promoter, so you weren't. And then it was like inking with Quique. You said you weren't going to ink anything, so I was like, okay, fine, we'll just talk.
I was talking about you, dude.
I know you were, but it's like, so you were on my show as well, and I did that on a Thursday. So, and I had Rafael already. I had him also on a Thursday, I think. No, Thursday or Monday. Yeah, he did a show with me as well, and that was a lot of fun to bring in a writer. And the last show of the year is going to be with Sigmund. Sigmund Torres is going to do this show. Dude,
Sigmund is an incredible colorist. And I don't know why he is not consistently on DC or Marvel books.
I might have to change the hour because I might have to either do it later than 8 p.m. because that'll be like 8 o'clock in the morning for him. Or maybe go up to 9 or something like that because otherwise he'll be really, really, either really early or really late. So right. I'm going to have to work with him on that one. I didn't realize it when we decided to do it. January of the show, I'm taking a 2-week hiatus. I will be transmitting some stuff from my vacation location during that time at Christmas time. But I'm going to have Uko Smith launch it off in January. Uko Smith.
He's a really nice guy, very talented artist.
Great guy. I'm very happy. He did a great piece for me on a Superman sketch cover. And
I hung out with him and Barry Kitson.
I'm making any of his stuff because everything he does is so painted. So I'm like,
right.
That's going to be a conversation. Like,
as a matter of fact,
Ohio, so
Lou, who's on here, Lou TR, him and I hung out with Riley Brown and Uko and Barry Kitson and Jerry Orway and actually it wasn't Lou. I'm sorry, it was Veer. It was Viraj. No, Lou was there. Lou was there too. That's right. Wow, I'm getting old. And Bob Hall. So we had a good time, and Uko is definitely a nice guy.
No, he is great, and it's lining up really nice for the next year too. So, when I said earlier that had I been doing all these conventions and stuff this year, I'm absolutely positive it would have been really hard for me to do Horrendous as well as I did. It would have been really difficult to set these things up to do the anthologies I'm going to be doing, and more of all, even my own show. My own show is not something that I set down at the beginning of the year. What are my goals for this year? Oh, I got to put an Instagram show. It was never part of my plan. It was just something that happened organically. Then you saw it working, and then you created this one. So it's like it's all normal. So, Phil.
Dude, what episode are you on?
Phil has a temper. Those who know him knows that. And I was going to test it out. I decided to test it out. So I said, okay, so he does this, and I that's the show. And he says, I'm going to do this Creatorcon thing on Q&A. So he starts texting me like suggestions. Do you think I should do this? I go like, and I go like, let's mess with the guy. Yeah, that's fine. And it's like stuff like yeah, I guess you could do that, And it goes like, what's going on? Look, I was something like, this and that. Did you get it?
You called me.
No, that's afterwards. I started doing the text, and I basically wrote something. Okay, did you get it now? And you were like, dude, what's going on?
Right.
You're like, did I say something on that?
Yeah, that's right.
I ignored it completely for about 20 minutes. He texts me, nothing going on. So I call him. He goes, Phil. And he goes like, Phil goes, what's going on? Look, man, I can't believe after all this, I created the idea. Now you're going to copy it? And so he goes like, whoa, wait a minute. What you got? And he was starting to lose it. And
he came on so unbelievably angry, obnoxious, and a total dick. And I let him have it. I mean, I didn't even let him talk. I just said, who the are you calling me, talking to me? I just went all Irish on him. And then he starts laughing. I'm like, you son of a bitch, you got me. He was believable. I mean, you can all admit he really is good at acting like a dick, right?
Yeah, thanks a lot. My daughter was going, you're going to piss him off. And I go, no, it's all fun. He'll get it. What if he doesn't? Well, then the end of the friendship was just been born. That's the end.
No, the one thing about me is I may have a hot temper, but I do not have a long memory in the sense that I don't hold grudges. I don't hold grudges. That's a waste of time. If you own up, we're good.
I can name 2 people you mentioned that you still do have a long memory.
No. There's a difference between a grudge and knowing to stay away from someone that's never going to be healthy for you. Okay. You don't see me go after anybody. Because, and I don't mean this as bravado, but if I were to decide to lose it and go after somebody, especially that person, they would be totally annihilated. They would be destroyed. So, especially with the stuff I have on them. The fact of the matter is, I don't waste my time on that because then I'm not focused on where I need to be. I need to focus on my children, being the best father to my children, best husband to my wife, the best promoter I can be, and making my life what I want it to be. And if I'm focused on getting revenge on jackasses, I'm not focused on what I really need to be focused on. So I don't waste any time on that. Don't be mistaken by the one moment I'm annoyed and I talk and I'm like, you know what, I'm bitching and venting about an individual that did me wrong. That's that moment. and then it's gone, and I'm focused, laser focused on where I got to be. Because you know what? The best revenge is for me to be happy with my life. Because they're obviously assholes because they're not.
Yeah.
That's it.
And I'm looking at this now, like, after that nice little message. You know, I really underestimated that 2 hours. By about an hour and 15 minutes, I underestimated that.
He's sitting there whining to me. Nobody's going to watch. Nobody's going to be on. Nobody cares. I'm a nobody.
I don't sound like that.
Nobody's going to sit there and tell me they don't want to watch me. And then he was like the teacher from the Peanuts. Wah, 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 wah. I just tuned him out after a while, and I didn't know what the hell he was saying. But the fact of the matter is, I told you people would show up. Stop it. You know why they show up? Because I'm adorable.
You what? Whatever, man.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Dante's talking about hiding from his ex. Dante said, I should have Dante on. Dante can pretend he's somebody famous in the comic industry, like he drew Action Comics number 12, you know, and I bet you somebody would buy it or whatever. He'd put on a good act. We'd probably have a great show. People be asking him tons of questions. You know, we should do something like that, Dante, like a spoof, kind of like what's that guy's name?
Next year on April Fool's, do that.
Yeah.
Adorkable. Okay.
You're right. We should.
My idea.
You're right.
Ladies are gonna say, "Well, I had this great idea, you know, about doing a talk show."
You're so stupid.
Really?
Let me ask you something. What episode is Inking with Quique?
What?
What episode will this Thursday be for Inking with Quique?
With I think it's 24. So just but I haven't done as many as you kind of repeated yourself, and you started putting like jams on this side, and I have these people today. I'm deciding to. You had like multiple ones going all over.
You know why?
A show every day in 1 week. So
you know why? Because when someone comes to me and they're like, "Look, my Kickstarter's got 9 more days, and I'm not there yet, and I'm trying to reach my goal," I don't have the heart to tell them, "I'm sorry, I'm booked to February." So I fit them in sometime on a Monday or Tuesday or a Wednesday when I'd love to be with my family, to be honest with you. But I feel I can't tell them no because I feel bad. I want them to reach their goal and their dream. So I add them on. So when I have the 0.5s, it's because we can't change all the numbering on all the friggin' flyers we do. And because you were moved up from November, you had to become a 0.5 because Eric Larson took the spot before you moved up. Because to be honest with you, I wasn't going to move you up. I was going to put Eric Larson in and have a regular 2 shows this week. But you had asked me, "Hey, dude, since there was since Joe Prado is going to reschedule, can I move up?" I didn't want to say no to you, so I said move up because we didn't realize that it's election day that your show would have been on, and you would have had no views, and I didn't want that to happen.
No, the thing is that we got a call from CNN and Fox News, and they didn't want to have competition with me, so they say no. This guy can talk all night more than we can. Fuck this thing. We're not going to do it.
But no, so I moved you up because I didn't want you stuck on that and not getting views. And I'm like, you know what, I can do it. And then Eric said he needed he only wanted 11 a.m. on the West Coast, so it's 2 p.m. here. So I'm like, that's fine. It gives me time to get the questions, everything ready for you for Tuesday and stuff. I have a whole comic book theme. So Dante has apparently been drinking.
It is one something. Okay, so I guess
I know, but I don't know who else is in the chat that might not be comfortable with that stuff. Like I don't know, Christina Valdez is comfortable with that, or
I do not condone Dante's behavior.
As a matter of fact, is your mom still watching?
I don't think. No, it was too late for her to start. I told her to watch it tomorrow. I said, you can watch the replay. And she said, okay, cool. So she says, cool. No, because you got to understand, my dad, bless his heart, he is 80 years old. And he's starting, for the last few years, he started to slip. And my mom, and this is like purely ironic, because he was so against me doing art, says that when you can be having a rough day, but if she puts me on while I'm being interviewed, he would focuses and is very on top of what's going on. Especially if somebody starts badgering me. Why are they complaining to him? Why? they're treating him like that. This is all part of fun, Dad. Don't worry about it. You know, the big cuddly guy isn't bothering me today.
Yeah. By the way, Dante, we're just teasing you. You know, I don't. You're good, man. Don't take it seriously. You're fine.
Why? Is he taking it thinking I was angry at him?
No, I think maybe he thinks I was not happy with what he said. I'm fine, dude. I'm teasing. If I felt that you were too much, I'd private text you right now saying, "Dude, tone it down." So how do you like because of P? Oh, hang on, we got a question. Yeah.
Wait, at what? For at 1:20 on the night.
I love it. So how do you like because of PC culture you have to change your art?
Who says I change it? Who says I change it? I don't change. Look, the other day, 2 days ago, my daughter and I had a nice little discussion in the kitchen. Nah, she won't see it, man, because these things.
She won't. Yeah, she won't pay attention to the chat. It'll be fine.
Besides, she's heard worse from me.
Besides, it was a typo. You meant Peter.
Answering Christina, basically, the other day my daughter and I were having a discussion, and she was angry. I said, why are you mad now? And it's because now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should not bring it up here because it's pretty controversial stuff. But basically, she was feeling that some groups were like doing the same thing with the whitewashing by changing characters for one gender from one race to another. And I'm going like, just why are they doing that? Why don't they do their own characters and stuff? Because it's always easier to imitate than to create. I told her. Mm-hmm. Now, PC wise, what's PC for you? Maybe not be PC for me. Is the way if anything we've seen about this year in this country, for the last few years, we don't know where the line is anywhere. Anyway, and I'm tired of it because sometimes I see a decent artist just being, or an actor or something, being harassed for something that has nothing to do with this, and what if somebody takes offense to something I've written and it wasn't made to be offensive? But let's say, because there are stuff that a person can write that could be, and it's done with that idea. They usually call that satire. Unfortunately, nowadays they don't see it that way. People don't understand what satire is anymore. Honestly, if Mad Magazine were coming out today, they'd be condemned on Twitter. They're saying, "Oh, those heathens! What are they doing?"
You couldn't have All in the Family of the Jeffersons on TV today.
And it's not. I understand where we are, but
I don't.
You can't please everybody. And at this point, if somebody takes offense to anything of mine, first of all, it might be a boon for my.
It'll be because it sucks, not because of content.
No, it wouldn't because it sucks. It would be because nobody knows about it, and it will get some publicity, negative publicity. But the reality is the way I see it, I've not been in that position because I don't do anything that could be that way. But if I were to do a character and develop anything, it would be on my own accord that I'm creating it for my universe and my stuff. I can tell you this, that had my daughter heard me speak the way I used to speak in the 80s or in the 90s, it'd be a totally different ballgame in this house. Because the way we were talking in that era is totally unacceptable no matter what today. And let's be honest, my daughter, and she's already said this, and I have no issue with it. She is part of the LGBTQ community. She has decided that she feels that she's bisexual. I said, fine. I was like, she said, Dad, you got a problem with it? It's like, it's different for me, but it's like, you're my baby. What is it? What else can I do but keep loving you the same way? And she has her own way of doing her own stories, which, for the way, when she presented it to me, she says, Dad, for my anthology, I want to go in this direction. Do they think they're going to approve it? And I was saying, wait a minute, let me find out. And I call up the editor. Look, man, this is what's going on. We good or not? And he goes like, yeah, we're good. I was like, okay, we're good. He says, There's no problem with that. I just want to make sure it fits in the mold of the fairy tale. And it will. Okay, go with it. That's what we're talking about. Now, will somebody read that in the book and say, well, this is not supposed to be in there? Fine. Wait till you read my freaking story. Okay? You're gonna have to wonder if it was supposed to be in there too. Because I'm telling you right now, that story of mine for Iron John is gonna be there. It's gonna be subtle, but enough power behind it that I know people are gonna be like, what? Yeah, but the thing is that when I actually asked another inker to do the work, I really wanted it to be done by somebody else. But I was looking to have 2 African American artists, myself and Carlos, who are Latin American artists, because the theme of that, it really wanted to hit home that this is the type of integral group that we're working together. So diverse for this. So
See,
BC is just I think it's just one of those people use today to like get away with saying certain things. Whatever, man.
I just think we're never going to be diverse as long as we keep referring to people categorized by their sexual orientation or their color or whatever. I don't see Latino artists. I don't see black artists. I just see artists. I'm serious. And people be like, well, then you're ignoring the race. You're racist. No, that's not how it works. And you can say that, but that doesn't make it true. Now, I got flack for 2 guests. One I've already had and one I'm going to have on my show. One is conservative and one is ultra liberal. And I got flack from both sides. I got cancel culture attitudes. I got etc. And you know what I say? Fuck you. I don't give a shit. Okay? No one is a villain because they see politics a different way. And this is why I don't discuss politics, but at 3 a.m. after 3 hours, I'll just touch on a little bit. I don't give a crap in anybody who's willing to fight their neighbor over rich people that are all 2 sides of the same fucking coin. You're feeding the machine. Keep your hate out of my life. Because you know what, Enrique, most of the people that I know are all over the place. It's not just extremes. It's not just all left, all right. Me, I have liberal views. I have conservative views. It depends on what you're talking about. Because whatever falls into these categories is what I believe in. Personal accountability, integrity, freedom, real freedom. Okay? That's all I care about. I don't care about any other freaking thing. I don't care about what these people do. I don't care about the shit and the rhetoric they put out there, or they're stupid fools that believe all this crap and they're fighting each other. I don't care. I don't care that you're Latino. I don't care if you're Cuban, whatever. I respect that that's your history, that's your culture. I respect that I can learn from that culture as you can learn from mine. But you're not defined by being Latino to me. You're Enrique Lopez, the person I know. That's it. I don't give a shit about identity politics. I never will. And I don't care if you're Eric Larson or Art T. Bear, as long as you act like a decent human being from what I've seen. My show is neutral. I am neutral ground. I am neutral to the point where if Ethan Van Sciver and Mark Wade wanted to come on his show together and I moderated a discussion, I would do it. The problem is, my show would be done in a minute because people can't handle this shit. They'd fight, they'd scream, and the chat room would become a horrible place. On both sides. There is no good guy when you feel you have to vilify somebody for having a different view. Because I'm going to tell you now, there are people that I absolutely do not agree with the things that come out of their mouth. But if I know you're a good person that I just don't agree with, you're not a villain. You're not a villain. But I know people that if I don't fit their criteria of what they believe politically, they will stop talking to me. All of a sudden, I'm not the man I've always been to them. And that's stupid, and that's a shame. So that's why I'm not upset with Dell by any means, but that's why I don't like questions about how do you feel oppressed for this race or that, because you want to know the truth? I'm not trying to dismiss or ignore anybody that felt racism, because the truth is, I was attacked for being white by 2 black men. I'm a victim, in a sense. I don't believe in the term victim, for me anyway. I was a victim of an assault a racial assault because I was white, and they made it very clear it was because I was white that these two men slashed me straight to the skull. You could see my skull. I had to get plastic surgery done. If you look close, you'll see it. When you see me in person, you'll see. Do I hold every black person accountable for what happened? Of course not. That would be stupid. I hold two assholes accountable. But my point is, I faced racial injustice. Move on. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to try to keep life. Do I understand that I had that one incident? Many people face it on a more regular basis. Yes, I'm not dismissing that. But I'm not going to dwell on negative either, because all you're doing is giving a voice to those who caused that shit. If we all focus on the good and focus on getting along, those voices have no power anymore. You hand them a megaphone, everybody hears them. You take the megaphone away and you go and you start having chatter and conversation, you drown them out. You don't hear them anymore. So when we're on my show and I'm talking to Enrique, I just want to hear about your art, your writing, your aspirations as a human being, because you know what, Enrique? I don't need a white character in a comic to relate to. I need a human character. I need someone who's fallible. I need someone that feels pain. I need someone that doubts themselves but finally stands up and faces that, you know? Someone that stands by their convictions. Someone that I can look at and admire and aspire to be, or I can relate to. And that has nothing to do with color. It has to do with heart. It has to do with content. So that I stay away from that stuff, because I think that's actually more harmful than good. The more we keep talking about you're Latino, we are putting it subconsciously in our head that you're different because you're Latino. You're not different, Enrique. You're a human being like me who just wants to raise your family well, protect them, feed them, keep them safe, and you just want to like what you see in the mirror every day, and you just want to aspire to your dreams and like your life. That's it. So that's why I don't get into labeling. I don't care. You could be a transvestite, a transsexual. I don't give a shit. If you act like a decent human being, and you're just relatable in the sense that you're just trying to find your place in the world, I can relate to you. That's it. And that's why I keep that out of my show. And that's why if you try to come cancel culture me, you're going to get my Irish fist in your fucking mouth. Because I don't believe in that. You live and let live. You don't like it, you change the channel. I don't like professionally offended people. That I don't like. Because life is too hard. It's so easy to tear something down. You can destroy a building in minutes with enough anger and a sledgehammer. But how long will it take you to build it up?
Yeah.
I'm about building up, not tearing down. And that means if everybody in this chat room, I include them because I want them to feel like they're part of something. I want them to feel that they matter just as much as the person I'm interviewing or anybody, because guess what? They do. Whether you're Dante, Raphael, Heather, John, whoever, Lou, you're as important as the guest in front of me, so you're part of the conversation. That's how I feel. No one is better than anybody. And that's why I told you the other night, don't ever worry about your station in life. Never. Because the more you measure yourself to somebody else, the more you feel bad about yourself and you're not focused on where you want to be. Just enjoy the journey and you'll get there.
Yeah.
Status is bullshit. That's man-made, created shit by somebody who wants to feel they're better than somebody else. And that is not my gig. I am no better than anybody here, but I'm no worse either. And that's it.
All right. You're done preaching for tonight. There we go.
I'm sorry, but I have to make that clear because lately people start bringing up this stuff in my shows. I don't want it. I don't want it. You know what, Dante? You could dress up like a mean transsexual as long as you don't grab my junk. We're good.
I want to answer that question that Christina put up there before I fall asleep.
Is there a future for artists with the pandemic taking away shops, and how do you feel about Kickstarter campaigns for new comics?
Two-part question. Let's start with the first part. Say that.
I'll leave it up for you.
There. Future of, I think artists are going to be fine because art is still a vehicle that you can use anywhere. You know, it's not like I tell my daughter she wants to go into illustration now. fine. Just hone your craft, because it doesn't mean you have to go to do comics. It doesn't have to. You could be the set designer. You could turn into a storyboard artist. Just as long as you're good at something, you'll always find something to do. As long as you enjoy it, it's even better. Now, how about Kickstarter? Kickstarter's awesome. I got one coming out in next year. So, and that's where I get all my stuff now. I feel bad for the local comic shops, but if they were in, like, I'm going to do a shout out to ANS Comics here in on Teaneck in Jersey, because they actually support the independent artists. They have a nice little section right near the other stuff where independent stuff. My book.
Is that John, by the way? Joe? Is that Joe?
No, that's Tony and Alex. Tony and Alex.
Oh, okay.
And they have my Stupendous book in their store as well, because they have it. They've located. They got a new section for independent artists and everything. So they do the good job to keep us in the limelight when we have projects out. So Kickstarter. So I feel bad saying that, because they depend on the big guns to get them through. But Kickstarter is great, because I think that's where you can find artists willing to go to that other corner of the market where no other people are going to, because it's not marketable, it's not stuff like that. And we're not talking about weird stuff out there. No, we're talking about normal comic books that don't have to worry about opinions and or something that's already been established beyond what they're trying to do. And people can come in there for fresh eyes and see something, just a good story being done. Just a good story being done. Is there crap out there? Yeah, there's crap. There's, like, everywhere. There's some stuff that's not worth it. But
the indie scene's better than ever, though.
What?
The indie scene's better than ever. There's more talent out there than ever.
Right now, you can see Ron Randall's putting out his book, which, by the way, I didn't realize when I started reading it that they had gay characters in. There was, like, the main character's gay. I was like, really? This is pretty awesome. You know, so all these things are out there, and you got, like, Billy Tucci's doing the She again through there. You got the Lady Death through Coffin Comics and Brian Polito. But those are the bigger guys. Now, you can talk to people who are just doing anthologies. There's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of really good stuff. If you just take the time and just do the search, and you will find, guaranteed, at least something new that will pique your interest. And by giving them the opportunity to fund it, you're giving somebody their chances of having a dream. What's that? All right. The dream. A dream of having something published and stuff. And like I said, I'll be part of a project coming up on Kickstarter and doing that. Up to now, everything I've done, I've produced by myself. I'm actually paid for everything. But I'm looking forward to that opportunity, and that is true by Terry Moore. Strangers in Paradise is a great book. So I would say if you're this you don't like what you're seeing now in the mainstream, go over there. You know, and it's sad because, like, I remember once I went to the comic book store and I asked them, "Do you have any of the Aspen books or any of the Xenoscope?" And they were going like, "No." I said, "Why not?" It's just not. You know, I don't have enough people asking for them, and I can't afford them sitting there. You know, because then they're going to be sick. So this is a discussion we had probably about 2.5 hours ago, and that we talked about the distribution model does not at this time provide the opportunity for people to find something outside of DC and Marvel, because the stores sometimes can't risk it to do that. Because if I put my money here and it doesn't sell, then I'm stuck with that inventory. Which, let's face it, if you go to comic book stores now, any store, they really don't have much space in there. And if you keep adding stuff every week that they cannot return, and if it's not sold, and then on the flip side, people complain, "Oh man, you've sold them all to the speculators. There's nothing left." Not really, because maybe he only bought 4 or 5 copies because he wasn't thinking that it was going to be sold. Now, sometimes you'll get a book that nobody wants, and then all of a sudden, ooh, a major character's in there. Well, let's go get it. And then, like, everybody only ordered 2 copies because nobody was reading it. So and then people go, "Oh, why no more?" So it's just a situation that, look, shops are working the best they can. Support them locally, because they're a small business and they need us to support it. But if you don't like what is going on in there, their alternatives is Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Absolutely the best way to go.
I agree. So look, we're gonna wrap this up. It's been 3 hours and 40 minutes.
That is the record. I'm gonna see who beats it.
No, I don't think anybody will. But I knew it would be long because you and I, dude, we have long conversations on the phone. And actually, real quick,
It's actually shorter than some of those conversations.
you know, the funny thing is, it was talking to you that made me remember. In 2 seconds, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put on a show.
I
The
know.
December 6th show was when I was talking to you because you were like the 5th person to tell me the same thing. Sitting on inventory, you had your aspirations, and I felt bad. And I said, all right, you know what, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
So-
but I didn't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so you inspired. You were probably the main catalyst or the one that tipped me over to say, okay, let's do this. I thought about it while talking to you. Otherwise, it hadn't even crossed my mind.
No, and the funny thing is that you were telling me, yeah, man, I'm thinking about calling it CreatorCon. What was it? The CreatorCon Sidekicks, I think it was.
Yeah, and you said no, just call it Suffolk again. Why bury that?
Why, Barry? You already got the logo, you got the name, you got the recognition.
You were right. It was the smartest thing. No, you were right.
Using us like as your one-day version, which is great. You know, I'm still waiting for my check anyway, but
Yeah, royalties.
royalties. No, but yeah, and I imagine now Andy's saying, wait. You're redoing my logo. You're using my logo again. Wait a minute. He probably wants
Andy
to-
didn't do the Suffolk logo, but he did, and he didn't do the Creatorcon logo either. But he does all the promos.
all the
And I'm just telling you right now, Andy Lee is a godsend. He's a godsend. I'm so grateful for what he does. And he's such a kind guy, and he's very helpful, and he's done a lot for me. And he's given of him, you know, he's given a lot of his time and asked for nothing in return, which I have to, you know, I want to do something nice for him. The guy doesn't want to let me, but I do it anyway. But he's just a good, gentle soul.
He didn't want you to pay for the signatures on his books, and he's like, yeah, bro, you know, yeah. And Dante, no, I'm not in Royal or in Midtown. To be honest, I have not. I've thought about going up there, but with all the pandemic thing when it hit,
Yeah.
like I stopped even worrying about it. To give you an idea, my local store ANS has been hounding me to go do a signing, and I just don't feel comfortable because it's such a small area, small place. And they were like off the charts. They've been telling me, "We want you in here, bring it in here, bring it in here," and they want to do one for Horrendous too. And I'm just like, wow, man, you know, maybe I'll have to stay outside, keep people like.
Maybe you can do an outside one. Real quick, Dante, no, it's a different Andy Lee. He said, call Mike and Diane at Royal. Yeah, I'm cool with Mike. I could give him a call if you do want to see if you can get the book in there. But anyway, look, Enrique, it was good talking with you. Thanks for coming out, man. You've got the record by far.
Well, I want to say that I'm ready for bet. See, the one thing that nobody has seen is like, yeah, I went like with my jammies already on there.
Stormtroopers, thank you. Yeah, I will never see them the same again.
Yeah, you never look at them as, and you know what? It's one of those worrisome things that because I don't want to wear it when I go to the restroom because they never hit their target. So you want to wear it. I got to avoid that. So I got to take them off soon.
I'm at a urinal at East Coast Con, and Nick Justice comes up next to me. He starts peeing, and then he goes to me, "Yo, never cross the streams." That was a great Ghostbuster reference at the most perfect moment. But look, it's been fun. It goes quick. I mean, I can't believe almost 4 hours. But thanks for coming out. You were great.
Heather was the first one in. And now she's the last one out,
Heather's been a big supporter of the show. She's a very faithful, loyal viewer, and she's been nothing but nice to me. And by the way, Heather, I apologize. Promote your page and your business too in the chat. John's been here this whole time too. John, I need to meet you, man. You're always popping up, but I've never spoken to you. I don't even know how to pronounce if it's Ottinger or Ottinger. I apologize. And Steve, another one. John has been great. Steve, man, Steve has become one of my favorite people. I haven't even met him in person yet. Dante, of course, and Lou and Evan Dell, but man, I don't know. Seriously, I don't know if people think I put on a front with all my appreciation and stuff, but I really don't. I didn't have a great childhood. I really didn't. I had a childhood where, I mean, for me to be where I am now, I've really overcome a lot of odds. And I'm not saying woe is me or crybaby. I'm not. I'm just stating facts. It was a crappy one. So when people do something kind for me, no matter how quote unquote small it is, I've always been a very grateful and appreciative person. I will thank you 1,000 times because my philosophy, based on how I was treated and brought up, has always been, you don't owe me anything. And most people won't want to owe you anything. So I don't care if it's $5 or 20 cents. It's not, you don't value the kindness of someone by how much they loaned you or that, or, that, just the fact that they didn't have to do it. Like when you did the art for my children, it was kind. You just did it and you sent it and, you didn't ask for anything in return. And it made my kids smile. And the best thing you could do for me is be good to my kids. I don't care if you treat me like shit as long as you treat my kids right. And that was very kind. And I'm also very loyal. What's that?
I did ask. I said I wanted a free table. You said no. This is business, man.
You're so stupid.
No, we're not dealing with that.
No, listen. I'm serious. I'm also a very loyal person, which to a fault, it gets me in trouble. My wife keeps telling me I keep giving of myself to people who haven't earned that loyalty. But I am a loyal person, and that's the way it is. And I agree with you, Dante. Money comes and goes. I don't even do anything for karma because I don't think that's the right reason to do it either. I do something for one simple reason. I can. If I can help you, then I can help you. I can. Just do it. If I can't, then I can't. But look, I'm not looking to score brownie points. I'm not looking for everybody to love me because the weird conundrum is I really don't care if people love me or not. Your opinion of me is none of my business. Let me rephrase that. It's nice when you do, but if you don't, I'm not losing sleep. I've had plenty of enemies in my life to not even sweat it. But when people do kind things for me and they go out of their way for me, I always log it in and remember it. I always do. You
get a lot of people doing nice things for you, man. I kind of like, what the hell, man?
And I do, and I'm very grateful for it. I mean, I'm very grateful for it. I mean, just the loyal, supporting group of people that come in and spend most of the. I mean, look, even if they're tuning in and out throughout the show, which I would expect them to, who the hell's going to sit here for 3.5 hours, 4 hours? The fact that these people are still here. I mean, it's still here. John's been here the whole time. Heather's been here the whole time. Dante's been here most of the time. And he's usually here the whole time. They've been here for hours. And, for them to take that time and want to spend that time with me and my guests, that's a nice thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was very appreciative. I didn't want to be alone. So
I knew you would be. So, look, you get some rest. And
everybody with this last thing because it was so ridiculously wrong done that, we have to get a laugh. And those who are still around will remember, don't ever forget the angry
eyebrows.
Angry juggernaut. We have to fix that puppy, man. Look, I already did in Photoshop. I can't believe I did that.
That's funny.
It is funny, though. It is funny. But it's there in real life, so people can see and say, hey, that's really cool, though.
Yeah, they're going to get the jam print at the show, hopefully. It's only $10, and you inked it, so that'll be awesome. And it'll be colored by Chris Mad's daughter, Shauna.
Oh, my God. Look, dude. You're definitely getting punchy. Look what Dante say at the end, man. Look at this.
I think he's dead sexy.
I don't know if it's good that he's calling me I look better dead than... anyway, it's the time.
Heather said, me being too nice keeps me from helping a few get lost in the Pinelands. See, that's the thing. I have a bad temper, but it's a bark. I don't bite unless you force me to bite. But
Yeah, Rafa, you're entertaining too, man. You're a great conversationist.
Raphael's going to be doing a show with me soon, talking about Star Wars and the writing, and then we're going to also compare it to the Star Trek universe and stuff. I like having got Raphael on.
Politics,
What?
That is bad as having a meeting, a discussion about politics. You can't combine that stuff, man. You're just looking for trouble. You're looking for trouble. All right? Everybody knows it's Star Wars. Just leave it at that, and let's not go there anymore. Okay? Avoid it. Actually, I like both universes.
So do I.
I like them both. I can live with both. I hate the idea that people say, no, this is better. Okay, whatever, man. There are moments.
Don't get me wrong. I absolutely hate
what I haven't done today? I haven't seen the episode that Mandalorian started today. It's back up. They're already.
No, it starts the next day, the day before Halloween. It didn't start yet.
Well, I thought it was on the
Discovery started.
But I've never seen that show though.
It's pretty good.
I watched Picard.
Yeah, I didn't yet. Dante ruined that for me. Thanks, Dante. Anyway.
Really? You know what it's about?
No, he told me about what happens to someone in the show. My question was, will I like Picard, because I didn't really care for Next Generation, but I liked the movies, most of them. So he answers me, yeah, except I didn't like that they blah blah blah, and I'm like, Dante, what the frig?
Oh,
so anyway,
it's a love letter to the fans of that character.
Yeah,
basically.
I don't dislike the character, but I'm always a Kirk guy, because you know what? I don't believe in a no-win scenario, and I don't like to lose.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Have a good night. Thanks for coming out.
I'm trying to stretch this to 4 hours to make sure it can be beat, but I'll guess we'll leave it here, and that is as good as it gets.
Would you like to fill in 9 minutes?
I could. I can, but I'm really. I'm pretty tired. I'm actually hungry again. That's the bad thing.
That's why you're fat now.
That's right. I'm fat now. So. Fat Quique. That could be a new show.
Look, Heather was holding out as long as she could, but no, you got to drag it out. Now she's going to bed. See, that's it.
Yeah, she said no.
Good night, Heather.
Good night.
Yeah, I'm not watching Lower Decks. All right. Be good, man.
I appreciate it being here. It was a lot of fun, even with Dante, and it's it was great. And I hope some people got a little bit into their insights of this mind of mine, and hopefully you'll find it in your hearts to give me a try. And I'm sorry to hear it. Get well, Heather, and hopefully you'll give me my books an opportunity. And when the Kickstarter comes out, you'll give that a shot, because it's not just for me. It's like I'm also looking out for the team I'm working with, because we're all trying to make a buck, but it's also trying to get our art out there and to show it to other people. Yes, I had very fortunate to have Paris Collins with me, but I'm also very happy with having these other independent artists who are just as me, trying to make a mark on this industry. So please give us a support. If it's not to me, anybody else who's trying to make it in this crazy little world. And we're not talking just about the artwork. We're talking about that lady who does cupcakes in the corner store. The other person maybe has a little store somewhere else. We're all going through troubled times. It's all easy to go to Amazon, but if you can't help the local people, please do it, because at the end of the day, we're all better if we're all doing well in our community. So let's be good to each other, and I really hope to see you all down the line at some conventions and stuff. And if you're in the New York area, and if you're in the Jersey area, get ready to drive a little bit, but you can come and see me. So up there in a place that I cannot pronounce, and I have no way of the name of that city we're going to be in. But on December 6th, I'll be there.
Ron Konkoma.
Oh my God, really?
It's Native American.
I know it is. It's one of those things I find it hard to. I got to read it 100 times so I can get it.
Well, on that note, my friend,
we're almost there. Only 6 more minutes.
I bet you John's still here. Feel better, Heather.
Okay, no, I think Dante scared him off with the poo finger guy. So,
oh shit.
Anyway, Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate you taking me in here, putting me in this place. And what?
Playing over titanium. I don't even know what the hell he's talking about anymore. And John is still here. Man, John is awesome too.
All right. So thanks a lot, guys. So thanks for making me feel welcome here, and I appreciate it. And I'll have to tell my mom to stop watching the show after 3 hours because you don't want to go to the next hour.
Yeah. Maybe 2.5.
Yeah, the last hour now. You don't want that part. No, you don't want to go there. And then that's the part my dad was like, "Hey, fast forward into that." That's what's going on.
Richard just showed. By the way, Richard D'Alessandro, while we were on the show, he does this art on his comic books. He draws, and he showed me. He did a Daredevil and he did Elektra, and he showed me Elektra tonight. And he's really killing it. They look fantastic. He should post them. I don't know if you are. I haven't seen your posts in a while, Rich, but you should post them. Anyway, yeah, man. So look, it's 4 minutes and change, and I'm still gonna say my C is after I let you go. So you'll reach 4 hours.
All right, people. So if you see this out there, please share it so people can check the stuff out. Get the news out that there's a new guy in town and he is not taking prisoners.
Telemundo.
And with this, I will say to you, gracias al mundo completo por haberme tenido aquí esta noche. Nos vemos la próxima vez en Creatorcon Q&A. Buenas noches a todos.
And that's why I call him Telemundo. Peace, brother.
Peace, baby.
Later.
Later.
Dios te bendiga.
Igualmente.
I'll see you later. All right. So that was 4 hours that actually went by really fast. That was episode 26.5 with Enrique Lopez. Seriously, please go support him. Go check it out. Stupendous is out now. Horrendous is on its way next month. He'll be at the show December 6th. I mean this sincerely. To all the people that watch the show and to all the faithfuls that watch it every night, thank you. It means a lot. It means a lot to know that I'm not talking to the wind, that people are out there, that they like what I'm doing here. They want to support the artists, and we're a community. And I know it sounds corny, but you guys being here is part of building something up instead of tearing it down. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and it's the most human thing that we can do. And I think we've forgotten that. So I have to say thank you for building with me and coming with me for the ride. Hopefully the show just keeps getting momentum and we can get exposure to guys like Enrique that deserve a shot. So, Dante, thanks for the humor as always. Raph, Steve, John, Heather, Lou, Dell, everybody. And of course, thanks for coming out, Richard. I really appreciate you guys. And I just, be the change in the world you wish to see. Really, just be the change in the world you wish to see. Don't bitch about what it isn't. Show us what it should be, what it is. And as I will tell you always, I'm trying to stall so we can get us 4 hours, but be legendary. Oh, wait. Actually, Friday, Art T. Bear will be on at 10 p.m. If you don't know who Art T. Bear is, he's a famous inker, and he's an artist. He inked over Will Spatasio. He did the Uncanny X-Men. He's done a lot of books. He did his own book, Black and White. He was just on Super Sons not too long ago, a few years ago. The guy's got an impressive resume. He's been in the industry for a long time. He's also a drummer, and he's a great guy. Art T. Bear will be here Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please come out, support the show, be part of the chat. I will decide who had the best questions tonight, which was really only 2 people asking questions, or maybe 3. And you will win free art. So having said that, as always, be legendary and have fun storming the castle.